locking in nutrients.
I saw a remarkable improvement in my dogs within weeks.
Try Dr. Marty risk-free for 90 days. Plus, get a free gift when you call or visit drmartypets.com/Caesar.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Ahead on American Sunrise Early Edition, it's called Operation Midway Blitz. And it's ICE's biggest move yet into the Windy City, even as Chicago remains a possible target for a National Guard crackdown on other crime. Now, President Trump is weighing in on the outrageous murder of a Ukrainian woman in North Carolina. But so is the governor of that state, and his comments are very telling, and not in a good way. A new report says there were at least some people in the Biden White House who knew about and even privately objected to the AutoPen pardon scandal. Does this mean there is no plausible deniability anymore? Hamas rejects the latest ceasefire and hostage release deal from President Trump, even after Israel once again accepted the offer. The president said this deal was Hamas's last chance, so what's next? And CBS parent Paramount is hiring a special ombudsman to make sure CBS News isn't as biased anymore. But it's going to take a lot more than that, and everyone knows it. American Sunrise Early Edition begins now.
Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition. The show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
Your good deeds and bad deeds. That's how we're going to judge you.
Join host Jake Novak as he breaks down the stories that matter.
We will be letting the public know regularly what we have found.
American Sunrise Early Edition with your host, Jake Novak, starts now.
Welcome, everyone, to American Sunrise Early Edition. It is a Tuesday, another busy 12 hours or so of news overnight going into this morning. So let's get right to it. Joining us right now is Republican Congressman Randy Fine of Florida. And Congressman, I first have to ask you about this new ICE wave in Chicago. They're calling it Midway Blitz. Even after they lost that football game last night, I'm sure the folks in Chicago didn't like that. But it's not the National Guard going onto the streets to fight crime, as President Trump continues to talk about. Seems to be a fait accompli, but they're not there yet. But it seems like Chicago's failed leaders are just as angry about this, even though it's targeting illegal aliens in the area. We know how much they're preying on, especially the poor people in the city of Chicago. We know that there are poor people in the city of Chicago who have objected to all the taxpayer money that's going to illegal aliens, even if they aren't committing crimes. Congressman, I actually think this is a very popular move. I don't care how they weigh the polls with their phony loaded questions about this. I haven't seen too much pushback from real people about ICE going after illegal aliens anywhere.
No, because illegal immigrants are a huge drain on our economy. Keep in mind, illegal aliens don't pay taxes. When they put our kids in our schools, we have to pay to educate them. When they go to our hospitals, we have to pay to take care of them. They're a massive $1 trillion drain on the economy. And I think Americans realize that. And so they want to round them up and get them out of here. Think about how much housing prices will come down when they all go home. So I think regular Americans get it. They get the problem and they want it solved. And President Trump is doing that.
Yeah, and by the way, we have some great video of how the ICE agents were attacked by certain illegal immigrants. So that's what Ben Berquam, we're going to be showing that throughout the day on American Sunrise and some other programs. So please stay tuned for that. But I just wanted to get that news in about Midway Blitz getting started. All right, let's talk about crime now, because Congressman, the murder of that Ukrainian woman, the refugee in Charlotte on the commuter train rail now is finally breaking through into the mainstream media, but only because we talked about it and finally President Trump also talked about it. getting people to really understand what's going on. And you, just even before this story finally broke through in the mainstream media, you had been proposing a bill to hold judges accountable when they just keep releasing violent criminals over and over, arrest after arrest in society. Tell us a little bit more about that. And do you think now that this story might give you the traction to get some more support for this bill and finally hold judges accountable when they just do this revolving door with, by the way, a very small number of, we don't have that many terribly violent criminals in America, but if we don't jail them, there might as well be a million of them.
Well, look, if you're a bartender and you serve too many drinks to one of your patrons and they go and kill someone, you can be charged for putting them in that position. Judges should be no different. And when these judges knowingly release incredibly violent criminals onto the streets and they go and kill someone, as happened with Irina Zarutska, the judge should be held accountable. Look, it's easy for them to sit in their courthouses with their armed bailiffs and be just detached from the real world. But the fact of the matter is regular people don't get to do that. And so I believe it's not right that what these judges are doing. And we've got too many of these stories and we're going to go after them and they're going to have to face their day in court.
Yeah, I want to be so grateful to you for pointing out the real problem in this, the real problem cog in this machine, because unlike you, the governor of North Carolina, Josh Stein, made a statement finally. Again, this murder was in August, folks. And we're talking about it because the video came out. It was suppressed so much by so many different people. But the governor of North Carolina came out with this statement where he basically talked about, well, we can't get a handle on this kind of crime because there's not enough police resources. And it's really, really hard for us. And what a dishonest statement. The police did their job, Congressman. They arrested this guy 14 times. It's the judges, it's politicians, we're finding out more and more, by the way, about the policies in North Carolina and Charlotte in particular to go very, very soft on crime. I mean, this is a tremendous lie by Governor Josh Stein, and I think he's throwing shade on the cops. The cops did their job, Congressman.
Yeah, I think you point out the right word to use. It is a lie. He was in jail and he was released. Why would you need more cops? You need more cops to find people and arrest them. But by the way, he's creating more work. It takes 14 times as much work to arrest someone 14 times as it does to arrest them once. This was a failure on the part of prosecutors. This was a failure on the part of the judge to let this guy go. And the problem that these Democrats have is they live in a delusional world where there is no evil, no one is bad. We can all sit around a drum circle and sing Kumbaya. And this is part of a civilizational struggle over whether there are such concepts as good and evil or everything is shades of gray. And I think on our side of the aisle, we believe bad people need to be locked up. You throw away the keys and you protect our civilian population.
Yeah, we've known for 50 plus years, because they tried it in the 60s, and then by the 70s we learned our lesson, that going soft on crime is actually a declaration of war, mostly on the poor. The poor are 12 times more likely to be the victims of a crime than anyone else. And yet this is what they say is some kind of lenient policy for poor and minorities. It's the exact opposite. Let's talk about another outrage, Congressman, and also a good lesson from Jerusalem. This is an interesting story. Now, of course, we had a deadly Palestinian terror attack on a bus in Jerusalem yesterday. 6 people killed. Just awful, awful story. But there was an interesting lesson here. It would have been a lot worse. It's clear more than 6 people would have been killed if it hadn't been for a young yeshiva student, just a civilian, who had just received and gotten his training with a firearm just a year ago. And he was able to neutralize one of the main shooters with an automatic weapon. I mean, this is an interesting story. Again, it's a terrible story, but there at least is an important lesson here.
Yeah, and by the way, we even saw this on October 7th, where so many people were killed because their kibbutzes were basically disarmed or they didn't have enough guns to protect themselves. I mean, particularly in a place like Israel, which is surrounded on all sides by Muslim terrorists who just want to recreate the Holocaust. People need to be protected. Law enforcement takes a few minutes to get there, and you can do a lot of damage. You know, the best way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And we need to recognize that even if law enforcement can show up in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes to a crime, a lot of death can happen in that time. People need to protect themselves. And I'm glad that less death happened here because of it.
Yeah, and by the way, for those of you watching this video now, I urge you to go online. I posted it. Other people should post it. Watch the whole video. There's an incredible part of that video where, again, you see people all around from the bus and around the bus getting out of their cars, running away from the scene. And there's an Israeli cab driver who's in the closest car to the bus who has an elderly passenger. And even as the bullets are flying all around him, he slowly and carefully helps the elderly woman out of the back of the car and gets her to safety. It's just so incredible. Again, I wouldn't say that's a happy story, but it's just something to see. I really urge everyone to watch all that video. All right, finally, Congressman Fine, I want to ask your opinion about this ICE raid, getting back to ICE and illegal aliens, at the Hyundai plant in Georgia, in your neighboring state. Hundreds of illegal aliens working there from South Carolina. Look, you're a congressman. You're also a businessman. We are happy, more than happy, to welcome foreign investment in this country, especially large factories and things like that. But when they promise, a lot of American workers are going to be hired, and then they don't deliver because they've imported a lot of their own people, that's really disturbing. But even more disturbing, Congressman, they couldn't even bother to get them done properly through the paperwork and to make sure that they were actual legal workers in this country. Now, we're giving them a break. We're going to let them go back to South Korea without any further prosecution. But my goodness, if this is a problem throughout the rest of the country, I have to think that you and your fellow Republican congressmen want to look into this and see if this is not an isolated incident.
Well, what's particularly outrageous about the incident is the state provided huge billions of dollars of incentives to get that factory built, in theory, because it was going to create American jobs. That's why when I was in the Florida legislature, I voted to stop these handouts to companies that would make these incredible promises about hiring people, and they wouldn't deliver on them, even if they were Americans. So I think this is troubling on so many levels. I mean, how could the state not know? How is nobody checking? But the fact of the matter is it was the right thing to do. Look, illegal immigrants need to go home. Every single one of them. And if they don't go on their own, we need to round them up and deport them. And this was 500 in this instance, but we've still got millions to go. And I applaud the president for what he's doing to solve the problem.
Yeah, and, we also think that they may have been put into some kind of really bad living conditions.
Sure.
I mean, do we really need to import people who are being mistreated? I mean, for those who say, well, we're not being nice to these illegal aliens, how do you think that most of these illegal aliens are being treated and paid by the entities bringing them into this country? Do you think they're being treated well? Do you think that they're being put into one-room living situations with multiple people? They're probably not being paid minimum wage in some cases. I mean, the idea that it's not compassionate, it's the compassionate thing is to discourage folks from doing this, not to reward it, correct?
Yes, and you have to keep in mind that they're bringing them in because they don't want to pay American wages. They're not bringing these people in because they're being kind-hearted. They're bringing them in because they can pay them less, because they can treat them badly, and because, frankly, they can't complain. Who's the illegal immigrant going to go complain to? The authorities? They'll get deported. So the illegal immigrants are wrong to come, but the companies that hire them are wrong to hire them. They're taking advantage of the situation. It's a problem all the way around. It's why we've got to seal our border, which President Trump has done, and now we need to deport all the illegal immigrants that are here.
Yeah, and the outrageous line that people who support illegal immigration are compassionate. What a crock. All right, Congressman Randy Fine, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your week. Always great to have you on this program. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Coming up, what Michael Corleone can teach us about why so many young people say they hate capitalism and prefer socialism. The Godfather has some important advice for us, folks. And gosh darn it, I'm sick of being stuck on the Long Island Expressway every day. I want my flying car, and I want it now. And there's news that I may not have to wait that long. Hey, American Sunrise Early Edition. We'll be right back.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
Life is precious.
I want to make a point.
No matter what happens, I'll always be there for you.
I know.
When a woman experiences an unplanned pregnancy, she's faced with a difficult decision. Preborn connects with life-affirming pregnancy clinics across the nation and provides them with free ultrasound sessions for expectant mothers. When a mother sees her baby on an ultrasound and hears their heartbeat, it doubles the chance she'll choose life. With your gift of $28, Preborn will provide a free ultrasound for an expectant mother. Visit preborn.com/life to save a baby's life.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
That flag in front of the White House is looking pretty limp. Not a lot of breeze today in Washington, D.C., but I think the worst of the summer is over for their weather situation. I'm Jake Novak. Thank you so much for joining us here on American Sunrise Early Edition. Thank you again for joining us on the Getter platform, on Rumble. You can watch us on Substack, by the way, live. On all those platforms, you can comment live, also on X. And I see those comments, and I very often learn from them, even when you shame me. It's okay. I can take it. Joining us now is Real America's Voice contributor, Emily Finn. And Emily, there's a new Gallup poll out that says that only 54% of Americans prefer capitalism, and younger people are even less likely to support it. Now, before you give me your take on this, I want us all to get some wisdom on the topic from Michael Corleone. Watch this.
You go to college?
Yes, sir, I do.
What do you study there?
Fine arts.
How do you plan to support your new wife on fine arts?
It's a good question. Well, I'm sorry, I just get embarrassed to say it, sir, but I'm a major stockholder in the family corporation.
You shouldn't be embarrassed by your wealth. This contempt for money is just another trick of the rich to keep the poor without it.
This contempt for money is just another trick of the rich to keep the poor without it. Emily, I have to tell you, everyone I know in my life who is a big supporter of socialism, including some of the big politicians who support him, are all a lot wealthier than I am. It's a trick, isn't it, Emily?
Completely a trick. But I also have to agree with Michael Corleone there when he said, how are you going to support her on an art degree? I mean, I think that is a big part of the problem here, too. You know, I think people need to understand and just play the game of the system in place. I mean, if you're going to go to college for an art degree, no. You're, of course, going to be the type of person that supports socialism because you need other people to support you in life. You need taxpayer dollars to get you through life because your art degree isn't going to. I mean, it's a really, really shocking shift. I mean, for the first time, Democrats, as you mentioned, Jake, are actually supporting socialism over capitalism. That's a 6% drop from what we were seeing in 2021. I mean, those are huge numbers in just a few years. And I really think that the Trump administration is going to be shifting the way that Americans, specifically that the Democrats, are thinking about this because it just simply isn't working. You see capitalism in practice, in place, and how many people are thriving and how much our economy is getting better. I just think that the facts are going to speak the truth here, Jake.
Yeah, and here are the facts. Capitalism is the greatest anti-poverty program in the history of the world. This is what brings people out of poverty, not socialism. Socialism freezes everything, keeps it in place, and it might give the poor some basic subsistence, but it gives them no chance to get out of poverty. And of course, by the way, I should say a little caveat, a little asterisk, capitalism with law and order, and you can't have one without the other. Which is why when anti-crime efforts, along with the capitalist system, are the best thing that can ever happen to our poor communities. People like Bernie Sanders and AOC, who not only want socialism, but also want to go soft on crime, are declaring a brutal and inhumane war on the poor. And we've known this. I was talking about this with the congressman. We've known this for 50 years. A poor minority person may be 5 times more likely maybe to be arrested for a crime, but they are 13, 14, 15 times more likely to be the victim of a crime, and crime causes poverty. Emily, did you have teachers who told you that? Or were they a bunch of socialists basically pushing these lies to you all the way through college?
All the way through college. And I must admit, Jake, that was about 6 years ago. It's getting even worse today. I mean, that is exactly what students are being exposed to. And it's just simply not going to work. But I will say the people who do not support socialism and know that it's failed every single time it's been tried, see situations like what's going on in New York City with their mayoral race, with this Mamdani guy saying, you know what? OK, fine. If people are supporting this right now, they're going to see it in place. If this guy gets elected, they're going to see New York City be just driven to the ground. And then, after his term is over, that's when things are going to change. And that's when they start to get back on track. So sometimes you just have to have a hard lesson slapped into your face. But certainly the teachers in the schools today, Jake, are not teaching the right things. This is something that you're going to have to learn for yourself in the real world.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning Zohar Mamdani, another person much wealthier than I am, pushing socialism on the rest of us. By the way, for those of you who are fans of The Godfather Part 2 and wondering where that scene came from, while that scene is part of the movie, that line about contempt for money, that was actually deleted in the original film, but you can see it now when they put it on DVD or when you watch it on TV. Emily Finn, thank you so much for joining us. We can catch you again. Everyone, don't forget, you can catch Emily in our next 2 hours, 8 to 10 a.m. on American Sunrise. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you so much, Jake. I hope I made you an offer you can't refuse. Tune in to American Sunrise. I had to.
No, very good. You're either going to watch this show or your brains are going to be on a contract. No, just kidding. That's the first movie. All right, thank you, Emily. All right.
Thanks, Jake.
Hey, if you're stressed about back taxes, maybe you missed the April deadline, or your books are a mess, don't wait. The IRS is cracking down. Penalties add up fast. 5% per month, up to 25% just for not filing. But there's help. Tax Network USA can take the burden off your shoulders and stop the spiral before it gets worse. They've helped thousands of Americans, whether you're an employee, a small business owner, or haven't filed in years. Messy books? No problem. They've seen it all and they know exactly how to clean it up. With direct access to powerful IRS programs and expert negotiators on your side, Tax Network USA knows how to win. You'll get a free consultation, and if you qualify, they may even be able to reduce or eliminate what you owe. More importantly, they'll help protect you from wage garnishments or bank levies. So don't wait for the next IRS letter. Call 800-905-8000 or visit tnusa.com/RAV to talk to a real expert at Tax Network USA. Take the pressure off. Let Tax Network USA handle your tax issues. Coming up, we'll get an update from California and Governor Gavin Newsom's revenge redistricting efforts. Can he be stopped? But first we're going to talk about cars and money. American Sunrise Early Edition. We'll be right back.
Wallet is always in danger. Criminals can scan and hack your information without you even knowing. Worse yet, it's bulky and so disorganized. But not anymore, because Slim is in. Introducing Slim Mint, an ultra-thin RFID blocking wallet that keeps your cards and cash truly protected. And now may be your last chance to get it for a low price. Slim Mint uses the latest RFID blocking technology to prevent thieves from scanning your wallet and stealing your info.
Having your information stolen is a nightmare. But with Slim Mint, I know I'm protected.
With money clips, cash can easily fall out. But with the auto-locking Slim Mint, your cards and money stay securely in place. Then just press the button to release the lock. Slim Mint is ergonomically designed to optimize space and keep your belongings organized. It has a built-in cash clip and a flexible outer band to securely fit your additional cards and your extra cash. Even with everything you see here in the Slim Mint, it's still ultra-thin. Bulky wallets are uncomfortable, but the Slim Mint is so compact it fits in any size pocket. Plus, it keeps everything easy to access.
Slim Mint holds everything from pictures to credit cards, my driver's license. Yeah, it's still so thin.
Say bye-bye to bent cards and damaged magnetic strips. Slim Mint keeps them protected. It's crush resistant and can really take a beating. Similar wallets sell for over $100. But call or click now and get Slim Mint for just $29.99. Order in the next 5 minutes and you'll get an instant $10 discount. So it's only $19.99. But wait, due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, this may be your last chance to get Slim Mint at this low price. There's a strict limit of 3 Slim Mint wallets while supplies last. You still have time to get your very own Slim Mint wallets, but you must act fast. Don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-608-6630. That's 1-800-608-6630. Call or visit slimmintwallet.com. So call 1-800-608-6630 now.
It's a live look at Chicago, Illinois this morning where Operation Midway Blitz is underway. And again, I want to remind everyone, we have some great video from Ben Berquam of how ICE agents have been attacked by some of the folks there in Chicago as they go after illegal aliens. So stay tuned to Real America's Voice all day for that. And also take a look at Lake Michigan there. The Bears looked good for a little while last night, but they couldn't hold on. Great game last night. We had a good first week of NFL games. Let's take a look at where the markets are going to begin today. And we have mostly green, although muted. These are very small gains to start the day, but I'll take gains over losses any day. Gold also, look at it now, very close to the $3,700 per ounce level. That's an interesting development. By the way, that's the result of a bet. They are now almost 100% certain, investors are, that the Fed's going to cut interest rates. And when they cut rates, usually gold goes up. So that's what's going on over there. Oil still very tame at the $62 a barrel level. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and where it sits right now at 112,600, up another $600 this morning. Slowly creeping back higher, but remember, we were well over 120 just a couple of weeks ago, so we're going to be watching Bitcoin. We have some, I'm not kidding here now, folks, we have some real drama when it comes to the Fed meeting that's coming up just in a few days, 8 days from now to be exact, September 17th. The question is, here's the drama. The question is, will President Trump's nominee to replace Lisa Cook, the Fed governor he just fired, be confirmed by the Senate in time for him to get into the meeting and vote? His name is Stephen Myron, by the way. There he is. Will Lisa Cook, however, try to participate? Will she try to sit in on the meeting? Because remember, she's suing to keep herself on the Fed governor's board. Will they both be fighting for that one seat? Will it be a battle royale? Will it be a musical chairs situation? I'm not kidding. This is the most drama I've ever seen for a Fed meeting ever in my life. I also want to know if they're going to be serving kale for lunch again, because I can't stand that. No, just kidding. But anyway, this is real, actual drama with a bunch of people sitting down at a table deciding about interest rates. That doesn't usually happen. Stay tuned. I'll be keeping you updated. I wonder if I can't wait to see if she tries to come into the meeting and whether they lock the door or who knows what happens. All right. Other states, by the way, have sales tax holidays around this time of year. Maybe you have it in your state where they get rid of sales tax on things like clothes or school supplies because school is opening up. That's what we have here in New York. But Florida does this one better. You gotta love this. A Florida sales tax holiday that typically applies to hunting, fishing, and camping equipment has now been expanded to covering firearms and ammunition. Now that's real freedom. Not only do they have strong Second Amendment rights in Florida, but they're taking away the taxes on them for a little while. By the way, this is going to be, they're exempt from sales tax through the end of the year. This isn't just some kind of just of a weekly thing. So this is a cool thing going on in Florida right now. Check it out if you live there. Again, please own and use your firearms responsibly. Okay. Would you pay $22 or $25 a share for StubHub? Here's my question. That's that ticket broker site. When it came on the scene, it was kind of a fledgling site, but it's taken some hold in America, and now it's going IPO. They're going to go into the stock market. They are looking to value their company based on that share price at $9.2 billion. I don't know how well this is going to work out for the investors in this company, but I will say this. It's a smart move for a ticket broker company to go public now, this time of year. This is when baseball is winding down and it's time for the baseball playoffs and people want those tickets. This is when the NFL and college football have kicked off. It's a smart free ad for themselves. Basically, what they sell is on TV and getting the highest ratings all the time. So kudos to the StubHub people for at least timing this right. We'll see if they get the money that they're asking for. Again, they're trying to price their opening shares between $22 and $25. I will keep you updated when trading on StubHub finally gets started. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. This is Moving America, sponsored by Artillery Tea Company. ArtilleryTeaco.com. Use promo code PAYLOAD for 15% off your order. That's payload. And also using Liberty is our term, actually, for 20% off your order. I'm sorry. Let me say that again. It's Liberty for 20% off your first order. Artillery tea is all natural, whole leaf. The tea bags are chemical free, and each tea bag can be used twice. Artillery Tea Company is family and veteran owned and operated, and a portion of your purchase goes to help veteran and first responder charities. ArtilleryTeaco.com, promo code LIBERTY for 20% off your first order. Sorry for that confusion. It's a great product. All right, how's this for a switcheroo, ladies and gentlemen? A new way that Japanese automakers are planning to beat the Trump tariffs is to start trying to push sales of their pickup trucks made here in the United States. Follow me here. Their pickup trucks made here in the United States, they're going to try to push them for sale over in Japan. Now, I don't know if this was the original idea behind the Trump tariffs. We wanted these foreign automakers to make the cars that they sell here heavily here in the United States. I guess it's okay for them to make pickup trucks here in the United States and ship them all the way back to Japan. I don't know how the Japanese buyers are going to swallow that. I also don't know how much Japanese people are going to be interested in pickup trucks in the first place. Have you seen the streets in Japan? It's hard to get a sedan through them, an American-sized sedan, let alone a pickup truck. But Japan, of course, does have farmland in rural areas, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. But they're going to try to sell those Toyota Tundras, those Nissan Frontiers in Japan. Let's see how strongly they market it. That'll be the telltale sign. If there are a lot of commercials and efforts and discounts in Japan for the dealerships there to sell these American-made trucks, then I'll believe it. We'll have to see how this goes. It seems a little bit backwards. Why don't they just make more of the cars that they sell here in America and make the cars that they sell to the Japanese in Japan? It's as simple as that. We don't want them making stuff in a foreign country that we basically support. If a brand is going to collapse if Americans don't buy it, then please make it here in America. Speaking of another auto company, Stellantis is continuing its big shakeup under new CEO Antonio Filosa. He's moving the longtime head of Dodge Ram and the sales chief for Jeep. He was the same guy. His name is Mike Koval. He's getting moved out. He was at the company for decades. Folks, I think that the term rearranging the deck chairs on the deck of the Titanic was made for Stellantis. They're constantly doing this. They keep doing this over and over. They try to rebrand. They try to fix it. This is the old Chrysler, remember? Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. Stellantis also has some foreign models that they own as well. It's very simple. The popular brands from the old Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge model, there's a few of them. It makes much more sense just to sell those than to try to keep this entire company afloat. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked. There have been so many different owners of the old Chrysler. Again, this is my opinion, but I have to say, sell those Jeeps, make them a little bit better. I know that the quality has been in question lately. Then they'll be fine. They just need to strip it down instead of changing the executives. This guy probably didn't do all that much wrong. He just had a lot to deal with trying to fix that company. All right, I keep saying that off-roading is going to be the new hot trend, much hotter than EVs. Well, Ford is trying to combine whatever is still left of the EV craze with off-roading. They are now adding some off-road capabilities to the all-electric Ford F-150 Lightning. You know what that means. It means they're changing some of the wheels. They're doing a few other things with it. So there's now a more off-road capable Ford F-150 Lightning. I think they should just go with the more off-roading and forget the EV part of it, but whatever. That's what they're going to do. My friends, this is the hottest trend now. Every car company and truck company is going to try to expand their off-road offerings to buyers. That's where the hot trends are right now. Again, you know my prediction. Within 5 years, I think there's going to be more off-road sales of off-road capable vehicles in the United States than EVs. Mark my word on that. Of course, there's off-roading, and then there's really off-roading. China's Xpeng continues to make big promises on flying cars, claiming they will be 20% of the global automotive market in 20 years. Xpeng claims to have spent $600 million over the last 12 years in R&D to produce 7 generations of flying car prototypes. There's one right there. And the company says it will have one ready for sale by next year, 2026. That should be about the time I get out of the next traffic jam I'm in, so on the Cross Bronx. So please hurry up with that. Anyway, XPeng is going to unveil its first flying car in a road test next month in Dubai. Can you call it a road test? I guess an air test. And they say it's going to be ready for customer delivery by next year. I can't imagine this is going to be legal in many countries. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of legal hurdles for them to jump through. But the next time you're stuck in a terrible traffic jam, tell me you don't wish there was a flying car. So there you go. All right, coming up. California Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to ram a redistricting plan into place to respond to Texas's successful effort to do the same. What's the latest on that front? We'll go to California live to find out when American Sunrise Early Edition comes right back.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul. Something shocking is happening with gold that the mainstream media won't report. Paper contracts for gold rarely result in physical delivery. But today, billionaires and major banks are demanding actual gold bars at 10 times the normal rate. Why the panic for physical gold? These institutional giants understand our $37 trillion debt means we're on a path to currency collapse. The good news, you can make the same move. A gold IRA from my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group lets you move your IRA or 401k into gold. To learn more, click below to get a free info kit on gold. Throughout history, gold has endured where currencies fail. Right now, the biggest players in the finance industry are proving this time won't be different. Click below for your free info kit from Birch Gold and diversify your savings now.
How many times have you tried to clean a stubborn mess but end up with no success? What you need is the all-new waterproof Ruby Horsepower, the new cordless and rechargeable power scrubber that cleans faster and easier, guaranteed. Watch, baked on oven grease is no match. It blasts away dirt and grime in no time. The power comes from our rotating brushes, spinning at 350 RPM. The incredible torque fights calcium, mildew, mold, and more. Take it in the kitchen where it busts through caked-on crud, or outside and tackle tough tasks with ease. Get your Ruby Horsepower with 4 additional attachments, all for just $39.99. Great news! They're in stock and ready to ship. Due to high demand, only 2 per order. Order now.
Call 1-800-944-4512. That's 1-800-944-4512. Or visit horsepowerscrubber.com. So call 1-800-944-4512 now.
It's Tuesday, September 9th. Here are this morning's top stories. It's called Operation Midway Blitz. No, it's not what the Vikings did to the Bears last night. It's ICE's biggest move yet into the Windy City, even as Chicago remains a possible target for a National Guard crackdown on other crime. Watch out, Chicago. Now President Trump is weighing in on the outrageous murder of a Ukrainian woman in North Carolina, but so is the governor of that state, and his comments are not very good. They are very telling, however. A new report says there were at least some people in the Biden White House who knew about and even privately objected to the AutoPen pardon scandal, keyword being privately. But does this mean there is no more plausible deniability in this scandal? And CBS parent Paramount is hiring a special ombudsman to make sure CBS isn't as biased anymore. Good luck with that. It's going to take a lot more than that, and everyone knows it. American Sunrise Early Edition continues now. Welcome back to American Sunrise Early Edition. Special welcome to those of you on the Getter platform who are up and commenting, the Rumble platform. You're commenting on X, I can see here on my phone. Also, by the way, Substack. You can watch the show live and comment on there as well. It's all those other platforms. You can get this on the Fire Stick. I mean, it's just, there's so many places to watch the program. We're all about your convenience. Joining us right now is editorial columnist Professor Sierra Claire. And Sierra, you are right on top of the resistance to California Governor Gavin Newsom's revenge. I call it the revenge redistricting plan. He's trying to even further an already very gerrymandered California. I don't even know how they're getting more water out of this rock or more blood from this rock, but he's trying. And it's going to disenfranchise about 40% of Californians who vote Republican. Tell us about the convention you attended last week and the efforts to stop Gavin in his tracks.
Yeah, good morning, Jake. The convention was full of energy. The California GOP convention was this weekend. I was there Friday and Saturday, and I interviewed so many candidates, attendees, members of the California GOP committee, people, stuff like that. Everybody was on message, which is really rare. Somebody pointed that out, and I agreed with them. It's really rare that especially California Republicans have an issue that they're uniting around, but this is it. And Sean Steele, National Committeeman, called California the next battleground because this really matters for the whole country. Because if Gavin Newsom does this and, his whole goal is to try to take away Republican seats, obviously, from President Trump. And he's able to do that. And we don't have a House majority in the midterms. Obviously, we all know what's going to happen it's going to completely halt President Trump's agenda. So I loved that word. California is the battleground. There are Republicans. There are 5.7 million Republicans in California. And, it's not a lost state. So it is a fight, and we are fighting.
There was a Speaker of the House named Tip O'Neill, who was a Democrat, but he was a very wise guy, and he really understood a lot about politics. And one of the great quotes he had was, "All politics is local." And so when you understand that that's true, you realize that if you take away the vote of people at the lowest levels, at these House district levels, low for federal elections, you're basically taking away their right to vote. You're taking away their freedom. And it's as simple as that. Now, we can talk about what went on in Texas, and I know there's some people angry about that. But listen, folks, Texas is a predominantly red state. They still send more Democrats to Congress from a percentage basis than you would again, if you took the whole state's votes. It's still not proportional. And so that redistricting is trying to level that. You might be angry about that, liberals, if you're watching this, but understand that Texas was still sending more Democrats to the House than proportionally represented by their statewide vote. California, on the other hand, is already sending way more Democrats to the House of Representatives than is proportionally justified in that vote. And so I think, Sierra, I assume that there are some people talking about how their rights were being taken away as voters if this goes through.
Absolutely. I mean, as you pointed out, California already does not have fair representation any which way that you look at it. And these maps that are being put forth by Gavin Newsom are so ridiculously drawn. There's a district that looks like a spider with little, skinny lines coming out of it and stuff. And it really does. It disenfranchises the voters and all voters, and especially independent voters, because it's not going to give people a chance. It's not going to give alternative options to people who may be independent voters. And then especially, of course, the Republican voters where there are many and they're just being drawn out, basically, of being able to use their voice and vote.
Well, another bedrock of democracy, in addition to the vote, is property rights. Sierra, there's also a plan by Governor Newsom to do more than just redistrict. I saw that you were posting about there's also an effort to take farmland in the state and give it to only non-white minorities. I don't know if you can even call some of them minorities. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I assume there's a pushback on that as well.
Yeah, no, I believe the number is there's 51% minorities now in California. So the minorities are actually the majority. So this whole plan by Governor Newsom doesn't make any sense. And it is really harmful because I was actually speaking to somebody who's running for governor in California, Leo Zaki, and he had a farm in California and was run out of business. And he was talking about how it's not just, an on and off switch with agriculture, which was something that I didn't think about, but I thought it was a good point, is you can't just take somebody, a family who's been farming in California for years and generations, and give it over to somebody who doesn't know anything about that area, doesn't know anything about that specific piece of land. Nothing about this plan would even make sense. And as you said, it's a total violation of property rights and just another horrible scheme by Gavin Newsom. He's to target Republicans, again, to target Republican voters. He's really going after them. And it's not a good look as a governor to be going after one specific segment of the population like that.
Yeah. And, one of the things to think about is what's going on here is think about what happened during some of the COVID lockdowns. We all know businesses in our neighborhoods that closed down. It was the people who came in afterwards and bought those distressed properties that kind of made out like bandits, but they bought them. They weren't handed to them for free. And that's kind of what's going on here in California, what they want to do. Another issue, of course, all of this, Sierra, is backed by the fact that there's still a huge number of illegal aliens in California that basically indemnify this governor in many ways, either from illegal voting or from just creating a buffer between him and the actual people. So it was nice to see the Supreme Court siding with the Trump administration yesterday, saying that ICE can continue its roving raids of certain areas, specifically in Los Angeles, 6-3 ruling by the Supreme Court. Again, is there any impact? Are people noticing? Is there a reduced illegal alien population in California? Is it less visible? What are you seeing there?
Well, I'm so happy about this Supreme Court decision, as I think everybody at the convention was. But, it's going to take more work. And there are many Californians who are trying to do this at the state level, which is so important. Things like voter ID and cleaning voter rolls and stuff like that. Because, there are illegal immigrants who do vote in California. I mean, I believe there was a post that came out that there was a dog that voted in California. So, we have to do this at the state level, and the Supreme Court has now opened that door, but it's just about actually getting it through Sacramento. As far as, like you said, the population, I do think that it's made a difference, that what the Trump administration is doing has made a difference. And they've gotten a lot of the worst, those criminals that they're going after. So that's always a help, but certainly more work to be done.
Really quickly, I want to get your take on this national scandal, which, again, it's been buried under some other news. But we learned yesterday in a story from Axios, but it's been confirmed by others, that there were people within the Biden White House back in December when I started talking about this that were really questioning the Biden pardons. As we know now, the AutoPen scandal. AutoPen or no AutoPen, pardons and clemencies were given to some very, very sketchy people. It turns out some people in the White House were saying, hey, the president isn't really signing off on this, and we're starting to see some very sketchy names here on the pardon and clemency list. What do you think? How do you think this is going to shake out? Or maybe it's just a case of reminding people that this is an issue again. President Trump did talk about it again yesterday. How do you feel that the people will look at this? I think the key to this scandal is to remind people of some of the horrible people who were given pardons and clemencies, like the Cash for Kids judge, the judge who sent teens to juvie just because he got kickbacks every time. I think that's the way to do it. Is there another way to tell people how horrible this was?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jake. Some of the people that Biden pardoned were horrible people that had no business being back out on the streets terrorizing Americans. And as you said, it's very sketchy. And the people that are involved, it's not looking good. It feels like there was a lot of lying to the American people going on. And I think that's the biggest part of this scandal, too, is that this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't okay because Biden was clearly, old and having those kind of issues. But this was intentional lying to the American people. So I would also say that's a super important part of this.
Yeah, again, a huge, huge scandal. Sierra Claire, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your week and keep up the fight going in California. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, coming up, Barry Weiss hiring an ombudsman. Will the new owners of CBS ever learn that we need a lot more than that to clean up the rot in its news division? Will they see the opportunity they have, by the way, for a huge success if they actually do clean it up? David Brody and I will discuss when American Sunrise Early Edition comes right back.
When the kids turn unholy, Harrelson's Own keeps my patience divine.
When work flies out of control, Harrelson's Own keeps me cool as a cucumber.
The device madness never ends, but Harrelson's Own keeps me zen.
Life can be chaotic, but Harrelson's Own CBD helps keep you calm through any storm. Harrelson's Own consistently delivers you full mind and body homeostasis. It's an organic, full-spectrum CBD in a refreshing oral spray. Our nano-emulsified technology makes it completely water-soluble, so your body absorbs it immediately. You'll start to feel it in seconds, not 60 minutes. It just makes everything feel better.
And it helps me just take the edge off. It helps me relax. It helps me be there with my kids.
I swear I'm like a mental ninja. Like nothing can throw me off balance.
No matter how many things come at me, I'm like, boom, handled, next. I'm like crushing it all day long.
Well, some people take it for a release from stress. Some take it to get rid of pain. Others just take it for general well-being. For me, Brett Harrelson, it just makes everything about my day a little better.
Give your life a boost.
It's just the best you've ever felt in your natural state.
My happiness in a bottle is the best.
So to sum it all up, you're going to feel the benefits quickly, love the way it feels, and like the way it tastes. Pay a fair price, and you're going to thank us for it. We are so confident you're going to be satisfied that we back every bottle with a 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Give Harrelson's Own a try, from our family to yours. Go to HO.com to order Harrelson's Own now. Yep, it's that easy. Just our initials, HO.com.
It's a live look at New York around the Times Square area this morning. We've been having great weather here in New York. It did rain a little bit over the weekend, but I got to tell you, we needed it, and it didn't really ruin any of my plans. I don't think it ruined anyone's plans. Welcome back to American Sunrise Early Edition. I'm Jake Novak. Hey, CBS parent Paramount Skydance has hired a new ombudsman from a conservative think tank. All right, that's fine. They're trying to be a little bit more fair in their coverage. There's also, again, this developing story, which has not been completely confirmed or a done deal yet, that they're going to buy Barry Weiss's Free Press and bring her in for a senior position at CBS. Barry Weiss, you might remember, is the woman who left the New York Times a couple of years ago. She was the editorial page editor talking about the anti-Semitism and other harassment there. Here's the thing as we bring in David Brody. Look, David, it's not enough. First of all, Barry Weiss is still very, very liberal. So if they're trying to balance their coverage by bringing her in, there might be less anti-Semitism and less anti-Israel stuff going on if they bring her in there. But that's all that's going to do. An ombudsman, what's he going to do? He's going to see, here's a story we did 3 days ago. That was wrong, and I will issue an email about it. Meanwhile, the story gets out there. This is not going to be enough. But here's the silver lining, Skydance. And if you're listening to me, David Ellison, son of Larry Ellison, owner of Skydance, who made this purchase. This is a money-making opportunity for you. If CBS cleans itself up and really starts being really more balanced and simply just goes after the stories that people will be interested in, you will make a ton of money on what has been a money-losing proposition for a long time. But, David, they got to do a lot more than an ombudsman and Barry Weiss. I mean, this is not going to work.
That's for sure. And you raise such a great point because there is a place for a true centrist media, legacy media, I should say, network. And there just isn't one, as we know. But CBS could potentially be that. Yeah, maybe not. But the point is that they could, because, you would think just from a business model perspective to, just look at the terrain and say, well, where is the space? And that's the space. But I'm glad you made that point about Barry Weiss. I mean, this idea that CBS and others, liberals are all up in arms about Barry Weiss. Really? I mean, it's not like Ben Shapiro is running Fox News. I mean, excuse me, CBS. Why did I say Fox News? Anyhow, CBS. I mean, this is Barry Weiss. She called herself a left-leaning centrist. Okay, I think that's being kind. Look, she's a liberal. Yeah. She is pro-LGBT, and what I mean by that is that she is a lesbian. She's out there. She's been married to this woman since 2022. So, I mean, but this is the person that they're all upset about. I mean, my goodness gracious, it's just insane stuff. But look, the bottom line is until they get rid of some of the key core people and really do a complete makeover, this is just smoke and mirrors. It's just smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Jake.
I want to show you, I mean, this isn't from CBS. This is from the Washington Post. This is a headline this morning in the Washington Post. It gives you an idea of how good an ombudsman would be, because the ombudsman, all he would do is write an email. Look at this headline. ICE launches Operation Midway targeting immigrants in Chicago.
That's right.
We know it's illegal immigrants. They know it's illegal immigrants. They're lying to us. We know they're lying to us. And they know that we know that they're lying to us, the old Soviet commentary. This is incredible. There's an ombudsman at the Washington Post that just didn't fix this. This is an incredibly dishonest headline. Hey, Jeff Bezos, come get your headline writers before we get them. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's what makes this downright sinister, because these people, they are leftist, they are liberal, but forget all that for a second. They're smart, right? I'm not saying that they're smart like they know what they're talking about, but these are intellectual people that know darn well what they're doing, and that's why it's calculated and it's done on purpose and it's sinister, and shame on them for excluding the word illegal on that when they know darn straight that it's illegal immigrants, not immigrants.
Yeah, it's a scare tactic and it's not good. All right, stay tuned for the next 2 hours here on Real America's Voice. American Sunrise is coming up. I'll be joining in the 9 a.m. hour there, and American Sunrise Early Edition will be back tomorrow at 7. I'm taking attendance. See you then.
American Sunrise is a great way to start your morning. Join us Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got the news of the day and some compelling interviews that you don't want to miss. Here's what you missed from yesterday. There's a kind of a developing story that we're working. We're talking to our sources to try to confirm a potentially disturbing story involving international arms dealer Rafiq Saeed buying American hotel chain Braemar Hotels and Resorts, which, by the way, owns the Capitol Hilton, which is just a stone's throw from the White House.
I mean, keep in mind, there's several events that is held at that hotel. Should we be allowing, I guess, foreign governments, foreign people known to have links to maybe some questionable organizations, should they be allowed to own property in and around a government building?
Do we have any numbers on fentanyl deaths and how they've declined since President Trump has taken action? Because in all of the 4 years of Joe Biden, those numbers just continued to increase, and we all continued to hear about friends and family members who lost loved ones because of the inaction of the Biden administration.
We're actively working with HHS to try and get these national statistics, but we have looked at from a state-by-state perspective. Ohio fentanyl deaths have plummeted about 56%, and we have been looking at other states as well. Wisconsin, way down. West Virginia, way down, but we'll definitely come back to you with more of those numbers, because this is really, President Trump's actions is saving lives, and that really makes a difference to every American. Red, blue, it doesn't matter. This isn't a partisan issue. This is an American issue.
Can you lay that out for us a little bit more in terms of how deploying National Guard troops in those cities could probably and would probably land in a federal courtroom in order to make that happen?
Well, look, one of the things I think all of us are learning is that anyone can sue for pretty much anything these days. It doesn't mean necessarily they're going to be successful at the end of the day. Now, one of the things the president can do is, again, surge federal law enforcement agents, FBI, DA, other agents into these cities. And we've seen that already, and I suspect we will continue to see that as well. Now, in terms of deploying the National Guard, active duty troops to those cities, there are specific instances where the president can deploy those troops. He can deploy them particularly to protect federal property or to protect those federal agents I just mentioned while they are executing their federal law enforcement duties. We've seen that in LA. I know that's being litigated right now. I think the president has some very good arguments on his side. But again, that protection of federal property, protection of federal agents, that is something that the president clearly has the authority to do. And I suspect that would be a major justification if any National Guard or troops are deployed to these other cities.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galena.
She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
Right now in Ukraine, elderly Jews are trapped in unbearable poverty. If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online.
Ahead on American Sunrise, immigration crackdown. The Department of Homeland Security announcing a massive illegal immigration operation in Chicago called Midway Blitz. Get ready, liberals. Will the National Guard also be sent to the Windy City as well? We have the latest. Plus, shut down politics. Congressional leaders from both parties reportedly coming together on efforts to avoid a government shutdown. Yeah, we'll see about that. What proposals are on the table? We'll take a look. And ceasefire possibilities. Israel says it's ready to accept President Trump's ceasefire deal. But what about Hamas? Those stories and more as American Sunrise starts on a Tuesday right now. Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. G. We are live with you from the Palm Beaches. Want to bring in David Brody. He's in Washington, D.C., and Terrence Bates in our Denver newsroom. Good morning, gentlemen. It's a sunny day in the Palm Beaches. It is 76 degrees here. We don't get this kind of beautiful weather very often, so we're very excited about this.
Wonderful. Good for you.
I can tell y'all are just wild for us. Just
David's like, good for you.
Well, good for you.
It's a little bit of fall happening here in Palm Beach. It's very nice, team.
Well, congratulations that you guys are getting some of the seasons. It's not just hot,
we don't get seasons.
that you're getting a little bit of the fall season here.
Yeah, not really.
Congratulations
we can pretend.
there.
Yeah.
I know it, right? Hey, guys, look. There's some interesting happenings in my hometown of Chicago. Operation Midway Blitz, as it's being called, is underway. It's basically the Trump immigration crackdown in that city. In fact, we've got some video of some of the arrests that have been made. Obviously, there's talk about the potential of the National Guard being called in, but President Trump confirming that Governor J.B. Pritzker at this point hasn't asked for help, so that would be the start. But here's some of the video of some of the arrests being made and amid these crackdowns. And David, this really is kind of the next step, if you will, in the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration, particularly in Chicago.
And let's call this for what it is. Democrats are basically saying, how dare you arrest that guy? I mean, that's basically what they're saying. They're saying, stop arresting rapists and convicted sex offenders and drug dealers and all of these nefarious people. How dare you come into our city and make it safer? Think about it. I mean, that is the tenable position of Democrats today, Gina. And that's why this type of stuff is going to be ultimately successful, even though we hear a lot of noise from the legacy media about this. The truth of the matter is Trump is tracking with the majority of the American people on this.
Yeah, well, and then, I just got back from the state of California, where I want to say they honestly believe perfectly functioning adults, right, believe that Trump's whole agenda is going into people's homes and taking migrants who've lived here for 30 years, or if you're a first generation immigrant, not illegal immigrant, or second generation immigrant, you might be next on the list. They really believe this, you guys. They don't watch any independent news. The things that they understand are so convoluted and backward. And this isn't everyone. There are great patriots in the southern part of California, especially the Central Valley, amazing patriots. That's obviously who we hung with part of the time. But we did go to the coast. And when we got to the coast, I'm telling you, it's like clockwork. And I know you guys hear this, David. You hear it in D.C. People honestly believing this rhetoric about it being the arrest of, immigrants who've been here forever. They're intentionally confusing the story so that people are all afraid in these areas. And it's absurd.
Yeah, I know we got to get to our guest, but you asked me that, Gina, and you're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, literally an example from just within the last 48 hours, we had a call from someone who's DACA, okay, that we know well, and she was like, well, wait a minute, what's going on? They're coming after me. I understand they're coming after my family. They're coming after, no, settle down. Now, having said that, don't be hanging around a convicted rapist or a drug dealer because you might get swept up. Now, that is a potential possibility if you don't have your papers, so to speak. But no, they're not coming for those type of folks, even though the liberal media would like to say that is who they're going for. Now, if they're swept up in the raid, that's a separate matter. But that's not who they're intentionally going for.
Not at all. And in fact, immigrants will be safer than they've ever been in this country because it's their communities that have been ravaged by illegal immigration. Today's Bible verse, we got to get to it, guys. It goes like this. It's from Psalm 25, verses 4 and 5. Show me your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Lead me in your truth and teach me. For you are the God of my salvation. On you I wait all the day. Waiting is always the hardest part, guys, isn't it? Department of Homeland Security announced it's launched a new immigration crackdown, as we were just discussing. This in Chicago, T's old stomping ground. The department says it is being called Operation Midway Blitz, as he said, and added, this ICE operation will target the criminal illegal aliens who flocked to Chicago and Illinois because they knew Governor Pritzker and his sanctuary policies would protect them and allow them to roam free on American streets. President Trump and Secretary Noem stand with the victims of illegal alien crime. That would be namely legal immigrants, by the way, while Governor Pritzker stands with criminal illegal aliens. For more, let's bring in Missouri Congressman Mark Alford. Congressman, you're from the great state of Missouri. No bias on my part whatsoever, thinking Missouri is about the coolest place ever. We get all 4 seasons there, by the way. Yeah. And Congressman, in a place like Missouri, you really don't have to worry about this, but if you do travel to any of these sanctuary states, as I said, I just got back from California, and you go to New York, you go to Chicago, you see the places where they've sought sanctuary, and it is a dreadful comparison to places like Missouri that have cracked down on the crime of illegal immigration.
Well, thank God we have a governor and had our past governor, Mike Parsons. Now we have Mike Kehoe that are very tough on crime. Mike Kehoe won basically on one of his planks in his platform was to crack down on crime. I think arresting, detaining criminal illegal aliens is the right thing to do. That's what 77 million Americans voted for Donald J. Trump for, is to round up the illegal aliens who Joe Biden recklessly let into our great nation to rip apart the fabric of our nation and send them back home. There's nothing inhumane about that. They should not have been let into our country to begin with, and it's time for them to go home. Our our Homeland Security Department has been trying to work with them on a voluntary basis to voluntarily self-deport and repatriate themselves, and then they would have a shot at coming back. But some are insistent on not doing that. They want to cheat the system. They want to cheat others by cutting in line to get here in the first place. It's time to go home. President Trump is a welcome sight to make sure that happens.
Congressman, good to see you. Terrence here. I want to play this soundbite for you. It's basically President Trump saying the country is stronger when our faith is strong.
America was founded on faith, as we know, and I've been saying it for a long time. And when faith gets weaker, our country seems to get weaker. When faith gets stronger, as it is right now, we're having a very good period of time. After some rough years, good things happen for our country. It's amazing the way it seems to work that way. And under the Trump administration, we're defending our rights and restoring our identity as a nation under God. We are one nation under God, and we always will be.
While a return to faith seems to me to be just part of the equation, what other elements do you see necessary in order to return us to the standard that we once held for our country?
Well, it's not just faith. I think it's a return to God, God Almighty. We should not be afraid to say that name. Ronald Reagan, some 40 years ago, said words to this effect. It's time to reassert our trust in God. It's time to realize that we need him more than he needs us. It's time to turn to God for the healing of America. This nation needs healing. We have a lot of wounds from this past administration that President Trump is taking bold action to try to heal those wounds. It's going to take some tough action, but it's also going to take, I think, a faith, a return to God, realizing that we would not be here without the providence and protection of God Almighty. That is one of the reasons our founding fathers established this great country, is a reliance on God. You see it in the Declaration of Independence, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's an honor to be an American. We should never forget where those rights come from.
Yeah, and Congressman, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about this, because you've had conversations with Trump about Make America Great Again, and you talk about how it's not so much, I mean, it is about Make America Great Again, but it's also Make Americans Great Again. It's something that you and I just spoke about yesterday, or exchanged information about yesterday. Talk about that. I think that was extremely important to understand.
Yeah, several times I've spoken with President Trump about this, and when he was running for office, when I visited him at Mar-a-Lago, I told him, I want to help you make America great again, but I also want to help you make Americans great again. I think one of the things we're missing right now is hope for tomorrow, not the kind of bogus hope and change that President Obama tried to promulgate here in America, but real hope in who we are as a nation under God. And I think it's important that we return patriotism to America. I love what Pete Hegseth is doing, our Secretary of War, who is really reinstilling the fighter ethos, the warrior ethos to our defense. More people are signing up now. We have new companies coming into Fort Leonard Wood of trainees there at the Army base. It's encouraging to see a return, and young people getting involved on the college level. They're like on fire for America, and it's time we recapture that. All of us recapture that patriotism and love for our great nation.
Fort Leonard Wood. My dad was stationed there, Congressman.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us and for all of your great leadership and representing us so well from the Midwest. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, coming up, we're going to check out the hottest headlines from the RAV newsroom with you-know-who, T. Bates. Also later, the head of the UN nuclear watchdog says there is hope for Iran's nuclear inspection talk coming soon. Can they be trusted, though? I don't know. We're going to assess that in American Sunrise. Stay with us.
People
are being given 20 days to move their savings out of bank accounts just because of their political views. In fact, a conservative billionaire in Washington, who you know very well, was forced to transfer hundreds of millions of dollars. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul. If they can debank billionaires for their politics, what's stopping them from doing the same to you? This is why I've always advocated for the one asset that can't be debanked: gold. Click below for a free info kit on gold IRAs from my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. For thousands of years, while paper currencies and banking systems failed, gold has preserved wealth. Even billionaires are learning this lesson the hard way. Don't wait for your own 20-day notice. Click below for your free info kit on gold IRAs.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap. This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
That's a Nashville, Tennessee. Nice shot, but I'll be honest with you. Where is the video of Gina doing karaoke in Nashville? That's the video that, let's be honest, America wants to see this morning. Our audience wants to see. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise on a Tuesday. I'm David Brody. By the way, join us in the chat on YouTube. All you have to do, just go to YouTube and put in American Sunrise, put in Real America's Voice. You'll see us. We're there live. And, of course, on Getter and Rumble, etc. Pluto TV, Samsung TV. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. Sorry, liberals. All right, coming up, Israel has agreed to a ceasefire with Hamas. Oh, but here's the problem. We're not hearing anything from Hamas at this point. Details in a moment. First, though, T-Bate standing by with the latest headlines from the Real America's Voice newsroom, sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
A 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee escapes war in her home country only to be murdered in cold blood on a light rail train right here in the United States. The attack was caught on camera, and while we are not going to show you the worst of it, some of what you're about to hear and see may be disturbing, so we just want to warn you. You're looking at the 34-year-old man who's accused of killing Iriana Zaratsuka. He's the guy right there in the red. Investigators say he sat behind her on the train and then cut her throat with a pocket knife despite having no interaction with her. You see it starting to happen here.
I just give my love and hope to the family of the young woman who was stabbed this morning or last night in Charlotte by a madman, a lunatic. Just got up and started. It's right on the tape. Not really watchable because it's so horrible, but just viciously stabbed. She's just sitting there. So they're evil people. We have to be able to handle that. If we don't handle that, we don't have a country.
Police in Charlotte, North Carolina, where it happened, confirmed the suspect has a decades-long criminal history, including a 5-year prison stint for robbery with a dangerous weapon. By the way, his mother claims that she tried to have him committed due to his increasingly violent behavior this year and his schizophrenia diagnosis. The man was arrested at the scene and is charged with first-degree murder. The The Trump administration is celebrating a bit of a win this morning before the Supreme Court after the justices ruled that immigration officials can continue to detain people based on their race, ethnicity, or language. Monday's ruling puts on hold a Los Angeles District Court judge's ruling, which temporarily stopped the practice of detaining people without, quote, reasonable suspicion about their legal immigration status. Following the ruling, the Department of Justice promised to quickly resume roving patrols in Southern California. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi calls the SCOTUS opinion, quote, a massive victory, saying that ICE officials can now carry out patrols without what she calls judicial micromanagement. In her dissent, liberal Justice Sonia Sotomayor writes, the administration, quote, has all but declared that all Latinos, U.S. citizens or not, who work low-wage jobs are fair game to be seized at any time, taken away from work and held until they provide proof of their legal status to the agent's satisfaction. The federal roving patrol immigration policy is also facing lawsuits from various civil rights groups this morning. And finally, Howard Stern back on the radio after trolling his listeners into thinking that he'd left his long-running show. The 71-year-old shock jock has been teasing some sort of big reveal for weeks amid speculation that his show was being canceled. Well, Stern returned to the air this morning, or actually yesterday morning, following a summer break. His current contract with SiriusXM, by the way, set to expire at the end of this year, but there's no word if the two sides have reached a contract. That's a quick check of your headlines. Now, let's get a quick check of your national forecast with Weather Nation meteorologist Tracy Anthony. Tracy, good morning.
Thanks, Terrence. Good morning. One of the big stories today is Tropical Storm Kiko. Now, at one point, this was a major hurricane that is starting to weaken rapidly as it pushes north of the Hawaiian Islands. So as of this morning, it is now a tropical storm, and the threats to the Hawaiian Islands continues to diminish. So we will still have some large waves and some tall swells and some very dangerous rip currents. We'll also have a few passing rain showers, and Honolulu even had a record rain yesterday, picking up about a ½ inch. But we are really not expecting too many major concerns as this storm continues to push farther and farther out of the area. Now, back across the lower 48, we are expecting a few systems to impact the northern Rockies and the Great Lakes. But notice Florida. This is where we're bracing for significant rainfall. I'm talking 3 to 5 inches over the next couple of days, and they've already had it socked to them with rain over the last week. So more moisture. This is actually a good thing, though, for their drought conditions here across Florida. But those chilly temperatures also in place across the East Coast, feeling a little more like October. Back to you, Terrence.
Thanks so much, Tracy. Up next, Israel says it has accepted the ceasefire deal proposed by President Trump. Now, all eyes are on Hamas's next move. We'll have the details ahead. First, though, a quick check of this day in history. It was on this date in 1998 that Special Prosecutor Ken Starr sent Congress the report on his investigation into the actions of President Clinton in the Whitewater affair and Clinton's improper sexual relationship with intern Monica Lewinsky. The report cited 11 possible grounds for impeachment in various categories, from abuse of power to perjury. Clinton and his law license were suspended for 5 years, and he was impeached but was not removed from office.
How does the world's most trusted dog expert keep his own dog so healthy?
Hi, I am Cesar Milan. In my 20 years rehabilitating dogs, I've seen too many struggle with health problems that no amount of training could fix. Then I discovered it wasn't the dog, it was their food. Fortunately, I found veterinarian Dr. Marty's Anti-Kibo Breakthrough.
Nature's Blend is packed with whole foods that are freeze-dried, locking in nutrients.
I saw remarkable improvements in my dogs within weeks.
Try Dr. Marty risk-free for 90 days. Plus, get a free gift when you call or visit drmartypets.com/Caesar.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Port Jefferson, New York, out there on Long Island. Okay, was it named after Thomas Jefferson? Inquiring minds want to know. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. Israel saying yes this morning to President Trump's ceasefire plan. The deal calls for Hamas to release all of the hostages and lay down their arms. Now Trump is calling on Hamas to accept the deal, or they will face consequences. By the way, Trump calls it his last warning to Hamas. Let's bring in Gol Kalev, writer with the Jerusalem Post, chairman of the Judaism 3.0 think tank, an all-around great guy, and the author, by the way, of The Assault on Judaism, the existential threat coming from the West. Gol, great to have you today. So what do you think? I mean, how is this potential ceasefire? We keep calling it potential ceasefire. Here we go again. I wonder how it's landing inside Israel, and how serious is President Trump's warning? I mean, he's saying this is the last warning. It'd be interesting to see what happens next year, Gol. Good morning.
Good morning. Absolutely. It's taken very seriously. I mean, we're hoping that we take President Trump seriously, obviously, and we're hoping that Hamas will take President Trump's warnings seriously. But if not, we're ready to go in and end the war by defeating Hamas. We are very relieved, obviously, to have President Trump at the helm, who is very clear in his message to Israel. We want you to win the war, to decimate Hamas, to bring back the hostages, and he's behind us on this.
Can I just do a quick follow-up? You say go in and win the war and defeat Hamas. We've heard that, obviously, from Israel for the last, now it's been 2 years or so. So, therefore, what does that mean? How does that look? I mean, as Nikki Haley, I hate to quote Nikki Haley, but there's been others to say, finish the job. Finish the job. What does that look like exactly, Gol?
Well, it's not that easy for us to finish the job. This is a very long war, the longest we ever fought for 2 years. But we're not fighting it in regular ways. We have every bullet we fire, we have European countries and the ICC and the UN trying to indict us for war crimes.
Right.
We've changed in the United States, the Department of Defense, the Department of War. The purpose of war is to win. President Trump allows us to win, but his predecessor didn't so much. If we were winning too fast or fighting too strong, he would sanction some of our military units. And we're seeing this with Europeans. Now we're seeing this with this whole starvation campaign, this modern-day blood libels that Israel is committing a genocide, a blood libel that's giving backwind by Prime Minister Starmer of the UK and Macron of France, who are not standing up to that, but participating in giving it credibility by saying we should put pressure on Israel. So we don't fight. I wish we could fight in the same way that we have always that other armies fights, but we are fighting where everybody is, we have, as we said all along, there's the physical attack on us from Iran and its proxies, including Hamas, and there's the ideological assault on the Jewish state that's coming from Europe and its proxies, and those two are uncoordinated by the feet off each other, and we're fighting in very difficult conditions. We have hostages, we have civilians, Hamas is trying to have their civilians killed, basically. They've booby-trapped their buildings, they've converted the high-rise building into command posts, they have explosive tunnels underneath it, so it's a very difficult arena to fight in, but we're moving forward, and what's left is basically Gaza City, and that is the next frontier.
Yeah, great points.
Yeah, a couple things. How many hostages are still there? Because you don't hear that these days. How many hostages are still in captivity?
Well, there's 20 hostages who are still alive. President Trump made some remarks that some of them may not be. We're, as you know, want to get both the live hostages and deceased hostages and bring them home.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the second part of my question, we had Dinesh D'Souza on about his new film just yesterday, and one of the things he said really struck me. He said, in this present war, you're having to fight in ways you've never had to fight before. You're having to use the tactics of your very enemies in this war. Talk about that.
Yeah, and it's an interesting point. I mean, it's a very usually when you have a war, you have one side and protecting its citizens fighting the other side who's protecting their citizens. This is a little bit the opposite because again we're asking Gazan civilians to go out of harm's way, at least within Gaza, and then eventually, as the Trump plan suggests, to give them the option to leave Gaza, because there's no way for them to stay in Gaza. I mean, I hope people understand that Gaza is a demolition site. Hamas is basically fighting against its civilians. It's basically the buildings are all riddled with explosives. So the Gazan civilians really have two choices: either to stay for 20 years in tents by the sea, which is what the Europeans want them to stay as sort of like the suffering remnant to remind everybody how horrible the Jews and the Jewish state is. President Trump has a better plan for the Gazans to bring them out. But we're fighting a war like was never fought before. Sadly, we're revolutionizing the concept of warfare by us being the ones who need to protect our enemies' civilians, and that comes at a very heavy cost, including to our soldiers.
Gal, obviously there's the threat from Hamas. Iran also posing an existential threat to Israel, specifically with its nuclear program. There are nuclear talks allegedly underway, but the United Nations nuclear watchdog says that there's actually some movement happening, but also warning that there's just not a whole lot more time left. Iran has even been blocking full inspections since those strikes that destroyed the nuclear plants there. Do you see a deal being close, or is Iran simply hedging?
Well, we'll find out soon. But the conventional wisdom, most experts think that there's going to be another round sooner or later. Hamas have not giving up their nuclear aspirations. They're not giving up the ballistic missiles program. Former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant says that this is basically coming another round. And if Iran enters a deal, then great, and if not, then both us and President Trump, I'm sure, is prepared to deal with it in another way.
Even if Iran does enter a deal, though, do you trust Iran to stand by that deal and to actually be true to the deal?
Of course not. I mean, the idea that we had in the previous administration of we'll take your word for it, we'll give you weapons, whether it's Hamas, the Palestinian Authority, or Iran, we don't take people's words, obviously. But the deal is only if it's going to be enforced. But we're also prepared to the situation where there's not a deal.
Yeah. Gal Kalev, great to have you. Great to have you with us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Love the truth coming forward. Thank you. Coming up, we have all been told running is a good way to exercise. I would have no idea about that. But could long-distance running potentially hurt our health? Some shocking new details next on American Sunrise. Though this person's running in slow motion. There, that guy's going faster. Back in a moment. Now, she's slow.
water, nature's ultimate cleaner. We drink it, we bathe in it. Think water, think steam, think clean. Now harness the power of water with the H2O X5 5-in-1 steam cleaning system.
I'm so impressed with the X5.
It's an all-in-one product, so I can use it throughout my entire house.
It's cleaning, it's sanitizing, there's no chemicals in it. It's just steam.
This is unbelievable. There is no more odor.
5 minutes, I'm done. Look at that, it's amazing.
If you're ready to step into an effective, economical, and eco-safe world of cleaning, look no further than the H2O X5. Using just the power of superheated water, the X5 super hot steam cleans and kills up to 99% of germs, viruses, and bacteria. You could spend over $500 to purchase the products that the X5 5-in-1 Miracle replaces. But through this special TV offer, you won't spend $400, $300, or even $200. Order your H2O X5 steam cleaning system, a $500 value, for just 4 easy payments of $43. You'll get the X5 steam mop with microfiber pad, the carpet glider, the handheld scrubber, the window glass and mirror attachment, and the garment and upholstery bonnet. It's a complete 10-piece system, all this for just 4 easy payments of $43. But it gets even better. Order now and we'll upgrade your X5 package. We'll add a 6th mode with a dusting and polishing wand. Valued at over $30, this extra bonus attachment makes your H2O X5 the H2O X6. That means your 10-piece system becomes a 12-piece system at no extra cost to you. If after 30 days you're not absolutely delighted, send it back for a full refund of the purchase price. Don't wait. Now's your chance to own the X5 for just 4 easy payments, and we'll make the first payment for you. You get the X5 incredible 5-in-1 lightweight, powerful 12-piece steam cleaning system, a $500 value, all for just 3 easy payments of $43. This offer can't last forever, so call or click right now.
Look at that. Kansas City, Missouri. Drip, drip. A lot of rain in the fall, that's for sure. Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. Gina. Thank you for joining us. It is time now for today's health news, sponsored by the Wellness Company. And under the microscope today, some risks of marathon running. Okay, our Rav Chat Gen moderator is going to get so mad at me for this. I'm going to put a disclaimer at the front of this. But here's the data. I just want to give you the truth, the data, the research, an early study showing that long-distance running has been tied to higher risks of colon cancer. Researchers took a look at 100 people between the ages of 35 and 50 years old who had never had a colonoscopy and completed at least 5 marathons or 2 ultramarathons. The results showed that 15% of them had advanced precancerous growths, and 41% reportedly had at least 1 adenoma. This is disturbing. Also disturbing on this is, the fact that my friends who are runners have knee replacements, hip replacements, and I'm always surprised by it. I'm always surprised, and I do love to run, by the way, but I don't do a lot of it because of the research that keeps coming out on it. At least not intensive running. New administration in Washington, D.C. brought a lot of positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. The reality, though, there's only so much government can do, and that if we really want to make America healthy again, it starts at home with each and every one of us, and that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You see and hear from their doctors all the time on this network. You're about to again. And you know that their products are the gold standard for keeping yourself and your family safe and healthy. The Wellness Company gives you the opportunity to be sure you're prepared for whatever comes your way with a series of prescription medical kits. These kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks that will assist you in the proper use of the medicines in the kits. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more. These can help you live a healthy and longer and more satisfying life. Make America Healthy Again starts at home. Do your part, protect the health of yourself and your family. Go to twc.health/RAV today. Give it an order. That's twc.health/RAV. Use the promo code RAV. That'll save you 10%. All right, for more on the health of America, I want to bring in Chief Scientific Officer over at the Wellness Company, Dr. Peter McCullough. Dr. McCullough, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
All right, want to get to this. Last week was a busy week when it comes to the future of our healthcare. First, President Trump released a statement on Truth Social that called for releasing all of the data regarding the safety and efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccines. This possible first step toward removing the these vaccines from the market, or at least testing them, as Secretary Kennedy has repeatedly called for, because it's never been done, which is hard to believe, Dr. McCullough, but your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think Trump should not look to the drug companies for data. He should be debriefed by Senator Ron Johnson, who's held a series of hearings. There's one today in Washington, another one on vaccines and chronic disease, as well as Marjorie Taylor Greene on the House side. She's also held hearings on safety issues with the COVID-19 vaccine. So we should follow the standard House and Senate processes, debrief with President Trump so we can fully understand what's going on with these vaccines. And the drug companies should fully disclose their safety dossiers. And we're talking Pfizer, Moderna, Janssen, and Novavax. You know, Pfizer and Moderna had to be forced under a court order. They tried to delay the release of their documents for 55 years. That should tell you something.
Yeah. And then there's the remarkable Truth Social post that President Trump put up yesterday discussing the poison thimerosal that's in so many things. My husband had actually put together a commission on that in Missouri going back and paid dearly when the AMA came after both of us and our family just for his commission. There were fireworks also on the Hill last week, though, as HHS Secretary Bobby Kennedy came before the Senate Finance Committee to defund his tenure at HHS. Repeated criticism from Democrats seemed to be that by not recommending a vaccine, RFK is somehow banning a vaccine. You know, that's not the case, but that is certainly the explanation of those on the Hill who oppose him. There's so much money, though, behind getting Bobby Kennedy gone because he is so effective. And this money has not only gone to Democrats, it's gone to Republicans. This is not a partisan issue, is it?
No, it's not. The senators were unhinged, the vaccine promoting senators. Remember, vaccines are about $100 billion industry, huge lobby influence in Washington. Kennedy is not proposing taking away anyone's vaccine. So vaccines are fully available to people. And remember, the recommendations are exactly that, just recommendations. Florida Surgeon General Joe Ladapo is simply saying to remove all school, university, and employment mandates. You know, 88 countries, according to Dr. Drew at the Wellness Company, 88 countries have no mandates for vaccines whatsoever. They're just like any other medical intervention.
Yeah, well, and it should be that way. And the advertising needs to be confronted as well, because the advertising does a lot of swaying, and we're one of the only countries in the entire world that allows that malarkey. But anyway, for individuals who are worried, doctor, about the long-term effect of the COVID vaccine, particularly the impact of spike proteins in the body, I have some wonderful products from the Wellness Company sitting right here in front of me. I take one every day when I get here to the show because it sits right in front of me, and I'm like, well, that must be for me. The Ultimate Spike Detox. What else do we need from the Wellness Company?
Wellness Company has a long COVID bundle for people suffering from long COVID or the vaccine. So it includes the Ultimate Spike Detox, the dose, by the way, 2 capsules, and then Mind Lift for brain fog, elevated energy for post-exertional malaise, and heart support for those because the heart is so commonly impacted by the COVID-19 vaccine. So you can manage this yourself. I recommend people get a blood test to see where they are with the spike protein. Get the antibody test to the spike protein. You go to LabCorp, go to Labs on Demand, click infectious diseases, and then COVID antibody test. The test costs $69. Order it yourself. Go to LabCorp and get it. If you're less than 1,000 on this test, you're free and clear. Over 5,000, we really start to worry about spike in the bloodstream. And I start to see myocarditis, blood clots at 10,000, 15,000 and above.
Dr. McCullough, I'm hoping that you will, I know you post a lot of clips from this show. I'm hoping you will post that particular part because there were a lot of steps there and I want to follow them and I want to go there and get that. Also, I want to say that a lot of the products that you recommend are usable for other conditions as well, like the mind fog, you can use for just even if you don't have a spike protein issue. The great products at the Wellness Company. We're so thankful. We're thankful you have them. We're thankful we can talk about them finally. Dr. Peter McCullough from the Wellness Company, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Coming up, Howard Stern pulled a fast one on his audience and said he was done with SiriusXM. What could the fallout be? We'll take a look. And before we go to break, a quick programming note from Routh. Be sure to tune into our special on the 24th anniversary of the September 11th terror attacks at Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Here's a little preview of that.
September 11th, 2001. A day that changed America forever. Nearly a quarter century later, the memories remain vivid and the loss still felt deeply. Real America's Voice presents a powerful special, 9/11. 24 years later, America still mourns. Join David Zier, host of Breaking Point, for 2 exclusive conversations. First with Richard Rotans, who led New York's emergency response during those dark hours. And then a candid interview with former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, reflecting on leadership, courage, and the enduring impact of that tragic day. 2 voices, one nation still healing, and a reminder we must never forget. Don't miss 9/11. 24 years later, America still mourns. Only on Real America's Voice.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff and less flexible? Do you have trouble sleeping? Are you less active than you once were? Introducing the EasyWell Remedy Massage System that combines the incredible effects of vibrational therapy, targeted deep tissue shiatsu massage, plus soothing infrared heat. A triple fusion of therapeutic experiences delivering health-boosting treatments to your body. Full-body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation, bringing relief to joints and muscles and reducing inflammation while supporting your overall mobility. Look at these beads moving from the powerful vibrational motors.
It's amazing. It's like 1,000 little fingers just vibrating my body from head to toe.
Infrared heat penetrates deep to relax and soothe your body, reducing joint pain and stiffness and increasing circulation.
Remedy gets in there and helps deal with the source of the pain, so you feel much better.
The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 infrared heated nodes is designed to mimic a professional massage specialist's hand kneading and working tight muscles in just the right way to bring maximum relief and pleasure. It is even detachable, allowing you to get a deep tissue relief in your upper and lower back, neck and shoulders, feet, calves, or anywhere on your body.
I can't even describe to you the feeling. It's just something that you're gonna have to feel for yourself.
Call or go online now to receive the Remedy Massage System. Your system includes the Zero-G memory foam layer, the vibrational infrared and ultra shiatsu therapies, the removable shiatsu pillow, remote control, and a convenient carry bag free. Just one massage visit can cost almost $100, but you can own the Remedy Massage System and have as many therapeutic treatments as you want. The sooner you order, the sooner you can experience the true remedy for your pain, stiffness, and stress. Call now.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. It is time to stay awake, not woke. And today, a media icon pulls a fast one on his audience. Howard Stern returned to the mic this week, but only after pretending to leave his show, fueling rumors that he was out at SiriusXM. While he's back for now, Stern's contract does expire in 2025, and no new deal has been confirmed. This comes amid shrinking subscriber numbers and mounting competition from free streaming platforms. Is this the final act for the so-called king of all media? Let's ask the expert, Adam Weiss, the host of Media Exposed, for us here on RAV. Adam, thank you so much for joining us here on American Sunrise. I mean, you got to be in a pretty desperate spot to fake your own death, if you will, like Howard Stern. What is your reaction to all of this?
My reaction is this segment could go on for a whole class on how Howard Stern was once pretty much in the camp of, let's say, the MAGA audience, the conservative audience, the truck driver used to listen to him, the police officer, the blue-collar worker, kind of what became the Trump voter later on. He abandoned them in 2016 because he wanted to be because he wanted to be liked by Hollywood, by the inner sanctum of the left, by the major mainstream media. He abandoned his audience, and his numbers cratered. Along with that, streaming platforms came along. Someone can go in their living room, their kitchen, pop up a YouTube, be interesting, make great content, and beat Howard Stern's numbers easily. And the company's paying him $500 million over maybe 10 years, or it might have been less. And they can't afford that anymore, especially when he's abandoned his audience and his numbers aren't good anymore. Just to be liked by the inside Beltway people.
And it's so, like I said, desperate because, Howard Stern, he's been essentially canceled by the mainstream, especially by younger people. I mean, so many of his shocking moments on his show from back in the day have been resurfacing. And like you said, that trust in the audience has been completely lost. I mean, it's just shock value at this point. Is there anything that he can do to get the trust of his audience back, or is it just too far gone at this point? Are they moving on to bigger and better outlets to get their media consumption?
It's hard to come back and say, yes, Donald, come on my show. Since 2016, he's gone against Trump. He's called Trump vote. I really don't like all of Trump voters. So he abandoned, and it wasn't like Trump. Trump would go on a show all the time and they'd have great conversation. And why was Howard so successful? He was the most politically incorrect radio host across America. Funny in the morning. I used to, when I was really young, I'd drive senior citizens, the largest town in state, New York State. I'd drive them to a free service back and forth to the grocery store, back and forth to the doctors. And I'd have Howard Stern on the morning. Nobody ever complained. They found them funny. Yeah. And that was who I'd listen to. And then I'd listen to Rush. But, once he abandoned all that, I don't know if he'd ever get back the audience,
It's certainly a changing landscape. And I want to get your reaction to this too, Adam. Barry Weiss could be headed to CBS. The left is absolutely losing it. Reports say Paramount CEO David Ellison is on the verge of buying her outlet. It's called The Free Press, and a deal worth up to $200 million. And the plan is hand her a top role at CBS News. Liberal commentators are calling it a culture war nightmare, but conservatives are calling it a long overdue shakeup in corporate media. Do you think CBS is ready for a truth teller, or is this the establishment blocking her path?
Maybe the one time Paramount, David Ellison, who's the son of the legendary Larry Ellison, who seems to be more a Republican Larry, but the son, David, is a Democrat who gave $1 million to Joe Biden's campaign. So maybe he's looking at economics. Maybe he's looking at country at whole and saying, you know what? We can't go in this route. We've edited too many. We've lost lawsuits. We're losing our audience. The morning show's cratering. We have to do something different here. We have to win back the trust of the American people. And the 200 million is a staggering number for somebody who just started basically a Substack page and has subscribers. I don't know if that's true, but that's some staggering numbers for Barry Weiss, and good luck if she can get that kind of numbers.
Sure. Who knows? CBS may be looking at Howard Stern. It sounds like they have a common mission to try to rebuild trust. Adam Weiss, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Always a great time talking with you. All right, now coming up, two young saints, one unmistakable. The message, holiness isn't old-fashioned, it's happening right now. We'll be right back with more on American Sunrise.
When surprise breakdowns happen, American Home Shield will be there to fix or replace parts of the systems and appliances you rely on every day. They help protect your time and money by connecting you with qualified pros and helping pay for covered repairs or replacements. AHS offers flexible and affordable plans for every home. Sign up today and get 50% off. Visit ahs.com or call 833-PLAN-AHS for this limited time offer.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
I'm a
a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
God bless the USA.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. It is time now for our moment of faith, brought to us by Lee Greenwood and the God Bless the USA Bible. In focus today, 2 new saints for a new generation. This weekend, Pope Leo XIV declared Carlo Acutis and Pier Giorgio Frassati saints in a historic ceremony at St. Peter's Square. Acutis, the first ever millennial saint, used his tech skills to catalog Eucharistic miracles online. Wow. He loved video games, The Simpsons, and giving to the poor. Now, Frassati, he was born to privilege in 1901, gave his life to serving the needy, literally giving people the clothes off of his back. Both of the men died young, but left spiritual legacies that inspire young people around the world. This is the Catholic Church call to the next generation. Holiness isn't just for the past. It's happening right now. Let's welcome to American Sunrise the president for Catholics, John Yep. John, always love having you on the show. What a cool moment, especially for young people in the Catholic Church, to see these two canonized as saints.
Can you imagine being the mother of Blessed Carlo Acutis? I mean, their 15-year-old boy died of cancer, and 15 years later, the Catholic Church is standing there saying, hey, your son is now in heaven. He's led such an exemplary life. I mean, that's ultimately the goal of every single parent, is to bring their kids to heaven. And we saw that blatantly on Sunday. It was really a great thing to see. And as like millions, I would say almost 600,000 people were there in the square to witness a celebration.
I just think it's the coolest thing. And, a lot of the work that he was doing on Earth was through video games, of all things. I mean, it just really ties everything together for young people, that the work that you can do to spread the word and really live Jesus's teachings can be through everything that you do, from even down to the video games. Was that message really echoed a lot during the Pope's announcement?
It absolutely was. And almost one person that kind of gets a little bit less limelight was Pier Giorgio Frassati. And I think he applies very much particular to young men today. I mean, he was very much a political activist, we would call him today. He was a staunch opponent of the fascism that was on the rise post-World War I, but he found a way to bring his faith into the political public life. Obviously we lead a group of Catholics for Catholics that does just that. And I think it's an example for Christian men and women out there today in America today, is to get involved. Flynn says all the time, General Flynn, local action equals national impact. We got to be doing that. And Frassati did just that, and he made it to heaven.
And you know what, John? Catholics for Catholics is doing just that as well here in America. I understand you guys had a really big day yesterday. You're partnering with President Trump. And at yesterday's event at the Museum of the Bible, you joined the White House prayer campaign for America. I know you were there at the event in Washington. So tell us more about this and this initiative.
Everyone should take a few minutes and watch some clips yesterday of Trump's visits to the Museum of the Bible, where he had a hearing on religious liberty, and he announced, most importantly at the end, a special campaign of prayer between now and the 250th anniversary of the founding of the country. Huge moments. Yes, you mentioned Catholics for Catholics is an official partner of the White House in this prayer endeavor. We got to be doing more of that. The President of the United States is conscious of that, and if he can be conscious of that with as many things he has on his mind, then we also have to make prayer a priority in our day.
And John, I think it's always important to remember that through prayer, thankfulness is always something that, gratitude is something that we need to remember to pray for as well. But what is it that you think that America collectively needs to pray for the future of our country right now? What do we need to remember when we're sitting in silence and talking to God? Obviously, thank you so much for all of our abundant blessings, but what is the next step in that prayer?
If you don't fight for it, you're going to lose it. And I think that's the call to this specific generation, because we're put up to the test right now. We have serious threats, exteriorly, of course, in the United States, but also inside our own country. People think exactly the opposite of what we do. And we have Senator Tim Kaine, who just said the other day, Trump referenced that that rights come not from God, but from man, which is an absurdity. So these kind of people are inside our walls, so to speak. We need to be pushing back with our own narrative that this country is from God and we must return it to God.
John Yep, thank you so much for joining American Sunrise, and best of luck with all of your endeavors with that partnership with the White House. Thanks for joining the show. All right, we'll be back with the second hour of American Sunrise in just 2 minutes. Make sure you're sticking around.
Introducing the limited edition God Bless the USA Bible, inspired by Lee Greenwood's hit song and the most recognized patriotic anthem in America, God Bless the USA. The God Bless the USA large print leather-bound King James Bible also contains America's founding documents, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance, along with a handwritten chorus to Lee Greenwood's song, God Bless the USA. With its large print and slim design, this Bible invites you to explore God's Word anywhere, anytime. The God Bless the USA Bible makes the perfect gift and cherished family heirloom keepsake to pass on to future generations. Designed for an easy reading experience in the trusted King James Version translation, this large print Bible is perfect to take to church, Bible study, work, and for traveling. Order yours today at GodBlessTheUSABible.com.
To avoid digital threats, just turn on NordVPN. Improve your protection against trackers, malicious websites, and malware-ridden downloads. Get the deal now.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie-cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need, and discounts for seniors and military.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Coming up on the second hour of American Sunrise, the Trump administration launching Operation Midway Blitz, a sweeping ICE crackdown aimed at illegal immigrants in Chicago, blaming sanctuary policies for politically motivated crime. Local leaders from Governor Pritzker to liberal faith communities pledge resistance. Details on the way this morning. Also, jury selection kicks off in Florida for the man accused of trying to assassinate President Trump while he golfed, and he's insisting on representing himself. We're going to bring you the strange, bizarre motions already emerging in court as this unprecedented trial unfolds. And also, the Japocalypse Now fallout. Democrats go ballistic after President Trump posts a meme saying, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning," transforming a popular movie quote into a threat. We're going to show you why leaders like Senator Tammy Duckworth and Governor Pritzker say it's a dangerous slide into authoritarian rhetoric that Americans can't ignore. Yada, yada, yada. Those stories and so much more ahead as the second hour of American Sunrise starts right now. Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second hour of American Sunrise. I'm David Brody, coming to you from D.C. Let's bring in Dr. G in West Palm Beach and T. Bates in Denver, Colorado, in our Denver newsroom. Good morning to both of you. Hey, so here's the thing on this Midway Blitz. Can I just say that, how about we talk about the fact that sanctuary cities are actually unconstitutional? In other words, the federal government is trying to do their job. It is in the Constitution that the federal government is required to enforce immigration law in our country, Gina. And this idea that sanctuary cities can just go about and say, no, we're not going to want any help from the federal government, that's literally unconstitutional.
Right. It's amazing to me the feigned deafness, if you will, on the part of Democrats, essentially, because this has become such a partisan issue. Not all issues are partisan, but this has become so partisan. This is the illegal immigration and the crime that is inherent has become the main issue of the Democrat Party. Like, they are fighting for this criminal activity, always negating, always acting like they don't understand the fact that the original crime of illegal immigration in and of itself is a problem. They always want to say, well, we shouldn't deport them because, if they haven't committed any major crime. Yes, we should. Because what about the people waiting in line? What about the people who did it legally? They always want to forget that. I know people who've been here 20, 30 years and have been trying to get their family members here for that long. And instead, our entire system is completely dilapidated with all of the illegal activities that the Democrats continue to condone and that continue to increase our crime, Terrence.
Absolutely. David and Dr. Gina, the Trump administration actually celebrating a bit of a win this morning before the U.S. Supreme Court after the justices ruled that immigration officials can continue to detain people based on their race, ethnicity, or language. Monday's ruling puts on hold a Los Angeles District Court judge's ruling, which temporarily stopped the practice of detaining people without, quote, reasonable suspicion about their legal immigration status. Following the ruling, the Department of Justice promised to quickly resume roving patrols in Southern California. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi calling the SCOTUS opinion, quote, a massive victory, saying that ICE officials can now carry out patrols without what she calls judicial micromanagement. In her dissent, liberal Justice Sonia Sotomayor writing, the administration, quote, has all but declared that all Latinos, U.S. citizens or not, who work low-wage jobs are fair game to be seized at any time, taken away from work and held until they provide proof of their legal status to agent satisfaction. The federal roving patrol immigration policy is also facing lawsuits from various civil rights groups this morning. President Trump continues to stand up for religious liberty. During a meeting with members of the White House Religious Liberty Commission at the Museum of the Bible earlier yesterday, the commander-in-chief delivering remarks saying that we all have to bring back religion in America. He also announced having donated his family Bible to the museum to be put on display. But arguably the most important message that he passed was setting the stage to support students practicing their faith at school.
In many schools today, students are instead indoctrinated with anti-religious propaganda, and some are even punished for their religious beliefs, and very, very strongly punished. It's ridiculous. I'm pleased to announce this morning that the Department of Education will soon issue new guidance protecting the right to prayer in our public schools, and it's total protection.
The president also taking the opportunity on Monday to send prayers and condolences to the family of murdered Ukrainian refugee Iryana Zarutska. Her stabbing was caught on camera, and while we're not going to show you the worst of it, some of what you're about to hear and see may be disturbing. Just want to warn you. Investigators say the 23-year-old's accused killer sat right behind her on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina, and cut her throat with a pocket knife despite having no interaction with her. That's the guy in the red shirt you see there. Police confirm the 34-year-old suspect has a decades-long criminal history, including a 5-year prison stint for robbery with a dangerous weapon. His mother claims that she tried to have him committed due to his increasingly violent behavior earlier this year and his schizophrenia diagnosis. The man was arrested at the scene and is now charged with first-degree murder. That's a quick check of your headlines. Now let's get a quick check of your nationwide forecast from meteorologist Tracy Anthony.
Thanks, Terrence. Good morning. One of the big stories today is Tropical Storm Kiko. Now, at one point, this was a major hurricane that is starting to weaken rapidly as it pushes north of the Hawaiian Islands. So as of this morning, it is now a tropical storm, and the threats to the Hawaiian Islands continues to diminish. So we will still have some large waves and some tall swells and some very dangerous rip currents. We'll also have a few passing rain showers, and Honolulu even had record rain yesterday, picking up about a ½ inch. But we are really not expecting too many major concerns as this storm continues to push farther and farther out of the area. Now, back across the lower 48, we are expecting a few systems to impact the northern Rockies and the Great Lakes. But notice Florida. This is where we're bracing for significant rainfall. I'm talking 3 to 5 inches over the next couple of days, and they've already had it sought to them with rain over the last week. So more moisture. This is actually a good thing, though, for their drought conditions here across Florida. But those chilly temperatures also in place across the East Coast, feeling a little more like October. Back to you, Terrence.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Appreciate that reporting. Now let's get you over to David Brody. David, good morning.
Good morning, T. Bates. All right, it's time now to turn our attention to today's top story. Of course, that is, as we all know, the Trump administration rolling out Operation Midway Blitz. It's a massive federal crackdown targeting illegal immigrants in Chicago. By the way, illegal immigrants, not immigrants like the media likes to say. They leave out the word illegal. Governor J.B. Pritzker and local leaders are furious because I guess they're invoking safety. Anyhow, calling the move politically motivated and dangerous. But the White House insists this operation is about restoring law and order and protecting American communities. So joining us with insight and the latest developments and details is John Solomon. Of course, John, the editor-in-chief of Just the News, host of Just the News here on RAV. John, we should point out this Midway Blitz is being done in honor of Katie Abraham, who, of course, died back in January in the Chicago area after an illegal immigrant allegedly slammed into her car while he was drunk. Your thoughts about this latest ICE operation going down in Chicago? How do you think it's all going to play out, sir? Good morning.
Good morning. It's going to play out just fine. Americans are behind what President Trump is doing. It's you look at the polling, a majority of Americans support it. They believe that this country was allowed to get out of control. And they understand that when you do enforcement actions like this, you're not targeting a specific ethnicity like Justice Sotomayor falsely claimed yesterday. She played the race card or the ethnicity card yesterday by saying this is only about Hispanics. But remember, they just raided a Hyundai plant and rounded up a whole bunch of South Koreans. It isn't about ethnicity. It's not about a race card. It's about removing people from this country who came in illegally, and many times, not all of them, but many times those people commit other crimes while they're here. They drive drunk and they kill someone like that poor woman in Illinois. They stab someone, they rape someone like Lake and Riley. And so Americans feel like this effort is to end avoidable crimes. And I think the president has the moral winds behind his back. He's got the political winds behind his back. And the Sotomayors and the mayors of these blue cities, they are on the losing side of an issue. And if they keep drilling down on this, they'll probably see the results of that outcome in the 2026 election. This is going to be one of the defining issues in the 2026 election. And right now, President Trump has all of the benefits on his side of the equation.
Yeah.
John, Republican or Democrat, at least some members of Congress are teaming up to stop congressional insider trading. The Restore Trust of Congress Act would ban lawmakers and their families from owning individual stocks. Real divestment, real penalties. But AOC and Scott Perry are backing it. Speaker Mike Johnson says he's in. Could this be the biggest ethics reform in years? And could something like this really restore trust?
I think it does. And by the way, President Trump also put his shoulder behind this last night with a couple of statements. Listen, this ought to be called the Nancy Pelosi Act. I did a lot of reporting going all the way back to 2010 and 11, as did Peter Schweitzer, another great journalist, on how Pelosi's husband just remarkably kept getting great IPO offers from credit card companies and other things. At the same time, his wife was shepherding legislation. We've seen this time and time again. We've also seen the inability of lawmakers to comply with the Stock Act, which was the first effort at reform on this, a much more tepid reform. But you see regularly Republicans and Democrats not complying, not disclosing stock transactions under the law. So that law, despite its good intentions, has failed. And I think now what you're seeing is an effort to realize that in order to restore some trust to Congress, these lawmakers are either going to have to put their stocks in a blind trust or get out of the business of trading stocks. And I think that the American public is, we've got a poll in the field right now. We'll see how this tests, but I suspect it tests very well. They don't want lawmakers trading on insider information no more than they want stockbrokers doing it. And I think that this law is going to probably get through the Congress with bipartisan support, and it'll be a good reform for the institution. The institution is not very popular with Americans these days, so it might be a good thing to do something that restores some of that trust.
Well, John, this next story I'm going to bring up probably also not going to be very popular with Americans. There's new FOIA information out that says that taxpayers forked over about $11 million to protect Hunter Biden. We're talking trips to Nantucket, holidays, Caribbean trips, luxury hotels. I could go on and on. The point is, all of this was on the American dime. And I think the overarching story here, John, is that the Secret Service claimed that it had staffing and funding shortages during major security failures as a result of all of this, or doing all of this. Go ahead, John. I think you're kind of, I think you're ready to go on this one, huh?
Chomping at the bit.
Chomping at the bit. That's the saying I couldn't think of. Thank you. Chomping at the bit. Thank you, David.
Well, I'll bite on that one for sure. All right. So, listen, at the end of the day, there is an assessment made by the Secret Service when someone faces a risk or not. They decided that Hunter Biden faced a security risk as the adult son of the president, and they provided some protection. It's not surprising to me. What is surprising is that the Secret Service, for most of the last decade, has not been properly staffed to handle these things. This is not a hard science. You got a family come in, they got 4 adult children or 3 adult children. You staff accordingly. But the Secret Service has been profoundly understaffed for more than a decade, and they just keep moving chairs around on a sinking ship. And I think that that's been a problem. We had a story just a few weeks ago, and I just want you to think about how profound this is. This was from the Homeland Security Inspector General. The sniper prevention teams, so the sniper teams that are out there that ultimately shot the gunman that wounded President Trump, they are 73% unstaffed. And one of the ways the Secret Service dealt with this, rather than go get more marksmen and solve the problem, because Congress is never going to deny the Secret Service money, they started borrowing other marksmen who weren't qualified to be marksmen. So you may have a shooter on a rooftop who's protecting President Trump who's not a good shot. Now think how insane that is in a country that wastes a lot of money on things that are frivolous, when in fact security is something that most Americans believe is a good use of their tax dollars. Hunter Biden has a lot of problems. He walked on the IRS tax problems for a long time. Those are serious issues. I don't think most Americans will be upset that the Secret Service provided some protection to him. I think they'll probably be upset that a lot of that probably involved overtime and paying 1.5 or 2 times what it would have cost to protect him if they had the right staffing at the Secret Service. And I think now, under Sean Curran and Donald Trump, there is a true assessment going on. For the first time, when the Secret Service got called out on this sniper thing, for the last decade, although you don't know what we do, we got this. Yeah. They don't got it. For the first time, the Secret Service said, you're right, we got to fix this. And they worked with the Inspector General to put some fixes in place. I think there's a new mindset to fix the Secret Service under Donald Trump.
John Solomon, great to have you with us. And I'm just thank you to the control room for not showing the Hunter Biden bathtub shot.
Yes.
So I just a quick shout out to.
Yeah, that's not good for morning breakfast. I'm good.
No, that needs to be like after hours. Thank you, John. Appreciate you.
Glad to be with you guys. Thank you.
We are back in a moment, everybody. Stick with us.
Poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galina. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has one pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
Right now in Ukraine, elderly Jews are trapped in unbearable poverty. If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help rush a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
Please don't delay. Call, scan, or go online now.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm American Sunrise contributor Emily Finn. It's great to have you with us this morning. Time now to drain the swamp, and this morning we are flushing out Ryan Routh, one of the men accused of trying to assassinate President Trump. His trial is now underway in Florida. He's a 59-year-old with a long history of run-ins with the law and is representing himself in court after a judge signed off on his request. Prosecutors say he planned for weeks aiming a rifle at Trump as he played golf in September of 2024 and even tried to obtain anti-aircraft weapons to bring down his plane. A Secret Service agent spotted the gun before Trump came into view, foiling the attempt. Routh's filings so far have been laced with rants against Trump, making this trial as chaotic as it is dangerous. Opening statements do begin on September 11th. We want to know what you think. Let us know on Rumble or Getter. Hop on and let your voice be heard. Coming up, we're headed down to Wall Street for the opening bell and insight into how to hold on to your hard-earned dollars with some common sense. We'll be back with more American Sunrise in just 2 minutes. Stick with us.
Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be seeing this. Most men over 40 look into the mirror and see this, when they could be using this. Particle 6-in-1 Face Cream for Men. The first of its kind anti-aging cream designed specifically for men. Fights eye bags, dark spots, and wrinkles. Visit ParticleMen.com and use the promo code on your screen to receive 25% off your entire order. Plus, we've got free shipping and a 30-day money-back guarantee. www.particlemen.com. Because seeing is believing.
The next time the lights go out, will your family be ready? I'm former Navy SEAL Cade Courtley. In a crisis, your power supply is your lifeline. So for National Preparedness Month, when you get the Patriot Power Generator 2500X, we'll double its power with a free expansion pack. That's double the runtime to keep your fridge cold, your phones charged, and your family safe. But you have to act now. Go to 4patriots.com to claim your free expansion pack and the peace of mind your family deserves.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Please scan the QR code to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for standing in the gap.
Dallas, good morning to you. Great skyline. I didn't realize that Dallas has such a nice skyline. I kind of like it. It's definitely hot there, though. Whew, even now. Anyway, good morning to those of you waking up in Dallas, and good morning to the rest of you as well. We appreciate you being here with us for American Sunrise on this Tuesday morning. A look at the early market trading. As you can see, everything is in the green there. The Dow, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ all looking up. Only one blemish on our screen at the moment. We're going to take you to New York for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange here in about 6 minutes or so. First, though, let's get you over to David. David, good morning.
Good morning, T. Bates. All right, time now for our daily dose of dollars and common sense. Time for American Sunrise early edition host, the guy behind Jake's Takes Substack. That would be Jake Novak, a recovering New York Jets fan. I know, Jake, you're still that 60-yard field goal. I know, we're still thinking about it. Look, I think you're as shocked as I am to ask you this, but is there some actual excitement surrounding the Fed meeting set for next week? You getting excited about the Fed meeting? I mean, is that even possible, Jake? Good morning.
I mean, I can't believe this. It's a bunch of people in a scheduled meeting years in advance, and it's going to be exciting. It could be exciting, David, believe it or not. Now, this is because President Trump, as you know, fired Fed Governor Lisa Cook last month. She's not accepting the firing. She's fighting it. The courts are giving her a little bit of a stay, or at least the more time to put together her argument. So meanwhile, there's a Fed meeting coming up in just 8 days. The president's nominee to replace her, Michael Schauer, could be confirmed in time for that meeting and could end up voting in that meeting. But, David, will Lisa Cook try to sit in the meeting? Will she try to get inside the door? Will the Fed let her in? Will they block the other guy? It could be kind of interesting. This is the most excitement they've had at a Fed meeting ever since they switched from decaf. This is going to be a very, very big deal if she does try to assert her what she believes are her rights. I don't think they are. I think the president had the right to fire her. This is going to be interesting. It could be very, and you know that she'll tip off the media if she tries to get in the building and she's blocked. So be ready for some drama at this meeting because we don't usually get that at all.
This is a soap opera for sure. This is like the Fed and the Restless, if you will. They should title that. That's what I've decided. Hey, so help me out real quick while we're speaking about the Fed. You talked about mortgage rates last week, and give you credit. You said they were going to plummet, go down, and they did. Now 6.29% as an average. What about interest rates? I know we've talked about it before, but for those that don't watch us every single morning, and shame on you if you don't, but just that's all right. I don't want to shame people. Tell us about interest rates mid-September. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, the Fed, I think, is almost definitely going to cut rates. The only question is whether they'll cut again, this is the interest rate that banks charge each other. So in other words, that gets passed on to you and me and to businesses as well. The only question is whether they'll cut it by 0.25% or of 0.5%. And we'll see what happens in the coming days. I think it's almost 100%. And certainly the markets believe that as well. Whether that shows up on our credit card statements or elsewhere, I don't know about that right away. But it will definitely help some medium-sized to large businesses borrow more easily.
All right. So apparently there was this new wave song in the early 80s called Big in Japan. I'll have to listen to it. I don't quite remember. I mean, the 80s were my thing, right? I mean, I had my members only jacket, whatever. I was so hip. And now I have a bad hip, but that's separate. It was a hit, I guess, in the dance clubs. I must have danced to it. I don't remember. Studio 54, honestly, my success rate in getting into Studio 54 was like 28%. But whatever, I did get in. Obviously, we're both legends in our own way. You are Mr. Studio 54, if I'm not mistaken. Anyhow, I digress. Is there literally a big in Japan story today involving pickup trucks? I don't know how in the world we got there, but we just got from Studio 54 to pickup trucks. Go for it, Jake.
This is crazy. I mean, American pickups are really too big for Japanese streets. Let's just put it that way. Now, they do have some rural areas of Japan and farms and stuff where I'm sure they can use pickups. But this is the weirdest thing. The Japanese automakers are trying to make more of their trucks, their pickup trucks, like the Nissan Frontier and the Toyota Tundra here in the United States. Okay, great. They're trying to beat the tariffs. But they want to sell them back in Japan as well. I don't know how they're going to pull this off, but this is their big way to kind of get around the tariffs. I don't know how they're going to market this. I mean, tell the Japanese people, hey, do you like sideswiping all your neighbors when you go down the street? Well, buy a Toyota Tundra. I'm not really sure how this is going to work, but hey, more power to them. I'm telling you something. If the marketing geniuses working for the Japanese companies are able to get Japanese people in Japan to buy big pickup trucks like the Tundra and the Frontier, then more power to them. Honestly, I got to get them to sell ice to the Eskimos because that'd be a heck of a job.
Ice to the Eskimos. All right, Jake, you have another apparently hot bargain to tell our viewers about. You're not going to sell me a bridge in Brooklyn, are you? What's going on? What do you got?
No, don't say I didn't do anything for you, viewers. Florida, the state of Florida, is having a tax holiday, a sales tax holiday on guns and ammo from now until the end of the year. Actually, it started yesterday. You know how, like, New York has the sales tax weekend when you can buy your school supplies for your kids? You know, big deal. Florida is really standing up for your rights. It's a good Second Amendment state, as we all know. And this is really putting their money where their mouth is. I mean, this is a country not only based on our Second Amendment rights, but also our right to not be unfairly taxed. And so Florida's packaged it all together into one big thing. And so for the rest of the year in Florida, you get your guns and ammo, buy it legally, of course, and be licensed to do so. But you get it tax-free, sales tax-free. That is an amazing deal. An amazing, by the way, also vote of confidence. I predict that there will not be any more shootings in Florida because of this. People will be responsible. But hey, you got to look at that deal. No other state has the guts to do that, not even Texas.
That's for sure. I like how you had your disclaimer voice on there. You know, like you were in your normal octave, and then you went to like the, by the way, you know, check where local supplies are. Whatever you did, I don't know. That was very impressive. All right, I got like 30 seconds or so left. I've run out of questions, but I do have, I guess, one last thing to ask you about the stock market. We're seeing it seems to be up again in the futures. Who knows where it's going to go? What's your sense? I mean, we've been seeing a pretty good run recently. What's your sense?
Yeah, right now the markets are in a bad news is good news mode for the most part. They're okay with the job market cooling off, but they just don't want it to go completely negative. They would like to see the job market cooling off. Wall Street isn't your friend if you want to get a job a lot of the time, so just remember that. So they're happy to see a little bit of a cooling off, and so because they know that will bring down interest rates and that will put money in different places in the economy. So, but they're worried at some level that it could get worse than just cooling off. They're okay with 20, 30, 40, 50,000 jobs. But if it goes negative in the coming months, then you could see a big stock market sell-off based on that. But right now, the bad news is good for them, just as long as it's not terrible news.
Gotcha. Jake Novak, great to have you. Appreciate it. All right. Time for Tea Bates. Time for tea in Denver, the New York Stock Exchange, sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
The applause is underway at the New York Stock Exchange, which means we're moments away from the opening bell and the official start to this Tuesday of trading. Train is at the podium right now. And again, the opening bell is going to ring here in short order, and then we'll get an idea of how the markets are looking. Right on cue, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The markets are now officially open. And just like that, Our entire board is in the green. The Dow, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ are all up right now. The other indices, as well as precious metals, also in the green at the moment. Hopefully, it is going to be a profitable day of trading for you. If you're stressed out about back taxes, maybe you even missed the April deadline, or your books are a mess, well, folks, you don't want to wait. The IRS is cracking down with penalties adding up really fast. We're talking 5% per month, up to 25% just for not filing. The good news is there's help. Tax Network USA can take the burden off of your shoulders and stop the spiral before it gets worse. They've helped thousands of Americans, whether you're an employee, a small business owner, or if you haven't filed in years, if you've got messy books, none of that is the problem. They've seen it all and they know exactly how to clean it up. With direct access to powerful IRS programs and expert negotiators on your side, Tax Network USA knows how to win. You'll get a free consultation, and if you qualify, they may even be able to reduce or eliminate what you owe. More importantly, they'll help protect you from wage garnishments or bank levies. So don't wait for the next IRS letter. Instead, call 800-905-8000 or visit tnusa.com/RAV to talk to a real expert at Tax Network USA. Take the pressure off and let Tax Network USA handle your tax issues for you. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back here on American Sunrise, President Trump touts the role of faith in the United States and how important it is that we believe in the power of prayer. His comments are next.
September 11th, 2001. A day that changed America forever. Nearly a quarter century later, the memories remain vivid and the loss still felt deeply. Real America's Voice presents a powerful special, 9/11. 24 years later, America still mourns. Join David Zier, host of Breaking Point, for 2 exclusive conversations. First with Richard Rotans, who led New York's emergency response during those dark hours. And then a candid interview with former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, reflecting on leadership, courage, and the enduring impact of that tragic day. 2 voices, one nation still healing, and a reminder we must never forget. Don't miss 9/11. 24 years later, America still mourns. Only on Real America's Voice.
Hey, just want to say thank you for your service.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure you've heard that before, but we want you to know that we understand the freedoms and liberties in this country are because of people like you who served and gave everything for the cause of freedom. We don't take that lightly. So thank you for everything you've done and sacrificed for us.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
We're ready for our ticket.
It's been paid.
People thank me for my service all the time. But I want to thank you for being someone
worth fighting for. You make it all worth it. If you really want to thank me and other veterans like me, go to helpdav.org and support disabled American veterans. That is the best way to say thank you and keep our promise to our nation's heroes.
You can say thank you to our nation's heroes by going to helpdav.org right now, or call the number on your screen and give your monthly support of only $19. Your support lets our disabled veterans know you appreciate them and everything they have sacrificed for us. When you do, we'll send you this DAV blanket as a thank you and a reminder that you support those who served.
When you support DAV, you're showing veterans like me that you were worth fighting for.
Please call or go online to helpdav.org right now. Your support in this moment honors our veteran service.
Breaking news from Real America's Voice.
We are back with breaking news. We are seeing reports that Israel launched a strike against Hamas leadership in Qatar. The IDF says it was targeting senior leadership there for Hamas. We, of course, will have more updates as they come in. This is still a developing story. But again, Israel has struck Qatar, specifically Doha, trying to target Hamas leadership that is there in Qatar. Again, a developing story that we'll continue to update for you. All right, let's get things over to Dr. G now for our political pulse.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks for joining us this morning. We invite you to hop in our conversation on YouTube, Getter, and Rumble. Time now to take the political pulse of America. The beat today. Where do our rights actually come from? Well, Virginia Senator Tim Kaine says they come from government. But Texas Senator Ted Cruz had to educate him on the words of our founding fathers. Take a listen.
The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the creator, that's what the Iranian government believes. So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling.
So Senator Kaine said in this hearing that he found it a radical and dangerous notion that you would say our rights came from God and not from government. I just walked into the hearing as he was saying that, and I almost fell out of my chair because that radical and dangerous notion, in his words, is literally the founding principle upon which the United States of America was created.
President Trump then weighed in and said Kaine should be ashamed of himself for his remarks. Take a look.
The need for this commission has never been more clear than it was last week when the ineffectual senator from Virginia, a man named Tim Kaine, stated that the notion our rights come from our creator is, quote, extremely troubling to him. Very troubling, isn't it troubling? Isn't that terrible, though? How he would say something like that and advocated really by a totalitarian regime. This is what they say. But as everyone in this room understands, it is tyrants who are denying our rights and the rights that come from God. And it's this Declaration of Independence that proclaims we're endowed by our Creator with the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
For more, let's bring in the host of America's Voice Live, Steve Gruber. Steve, how on earth, you tell me this, how on earth is someone elected as many times as Tim Kaine and does not understand the most foundational concept of our country? Should we have a U.S. constitutional and foundational test before someone can assume office?
Yeah, really. You would think. Look, how old were you, honestly, when you learned about the Constitution and the pursuit of happiness? And we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. They're endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers, their just powers, from the consent of the governed by their Creator. I mean, maybe I should send him this. I keep a copy of the Constitution on my desk every day, so I can reach over and say, hey, he said what? Wait a second. It says right here. I think we should share that with my friends in Congress. Yeah. And you see this all the time. You see people, well, the Constitution says this or that. I'm thinking, you've never read the Constitution. People spew nonsense claiming it comes from the Constitution when it has no foundation at all. The separation of church and state being one of the biggest things. The free exercise thereof seems to be a clause that they forget about when it comes to freedom of religion in this country. Freedom of speech is being destroyed by our friends all over Europe right now. We need to defend this document more than ever before. This document, this Constitution of these United States must be defended more today than at any point in my life. Yes, the freedom of speech is under attack. Yes, the freedom to keep and bear arms is under attack. The freedom of expression is under attack. The freedom of religion is under attack. Every place you look, and it's under attack predominantly by one political party, which becomes more radicalized every single day because they're not even traditional liberals anymore. They're socialists. They're communists. They're anarchists. This document, my friends, needs to be defended every single day. I think Tim Kaine, I should autograph it and mail it to him. Maybe we all should. And say, Senator, I'm not sure where you went to 5th grade, but where I went to 5th grade, we already knew all of these things by the time we got there. So it's appalling that he's that uneducated, that he would compare the United States of America to some rogue nation. It is appalling, just the word that comes to mind for me, guys. Yeah. Just appalling.
Steve, it is appalling, but are you really surprised? And no. Personally, not to editorialize here, this to me isn't just a rejection of the Constitution. It's also a common rejection of God that we've seen pretty consistently within the Democrat Party, it seems to me.
I agree with you on that, 100%. It's also, this document, rejected by judges across this great country of ours with more regularity than ever before.
Yes.
They routinely ignore the Constitution. They don't care. They rule against President Trump, for example, on a number of things and other things that should be clear common sense and are rooted in this Constitution, which I continue to hold up because people need to read it. Everybody needs a copy of this on their desk. Refresh yourselves. Maybe there should be a refresher course on the Constitution every 5 or 10 years or so. When you meet people that have come into this country legally, and I meet a lot of them, different places you travel, you meet people who come into this country legally. They know more about the Constitution than does Senator Tim Kaine. They do because they took time to actually read the document. And he's not the only offender. There's other members of Congress that have no idea what's written here. None. And if they do know, sadly, they don't seem to care much about it, which I don't know which is worse, not knowing or not caring, or both are equally destructive. Well, but I go back to the judges that just don't know nothing about it. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, no, I think a big part of the problem here is that Tim Kaine wears his, quote, faith on his sleeve. I mean, that's his calling card. Yeah. I've covered Tim Kaine for over 20 years, and that's his thing. That's his shtick, right? That he talks about his faith. And the fact that a man like that would muddy the waters, totally distort and not even fabricate, but tell untruths like that is dangerous for people that aren't paying attention to this type of stuff, and they'll start to believe a, quote, man of faith. That is ridiculous what he's doing. By the way, speaking of faith, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say faith is one thing, relationship is something completely different. And those sorts of statements, to me, speak to a lack of relationship. Just my thoughts. I'll sit back now. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, we're getting ready for Tom Homan, the border czar, to potentially approach the mics there at the White House. We monitor things left and right. I monitor my 401k, but I also monitor Tom Homan walking. And there we go. We're looking at this live. Let's see if he comes to the microphone. Oh, he looks like he's coming straight up. Let's listen in, everybody.
Good morning, Mark Stone from Sky News. We've spent the past couple of weeks in and around Washington, D.C., neighborhoods like Mount Pleasant, where we've been talking to the Latino community. And one thing that we've discovered is that there are a lot of very frightened people there. Mums, dads, kids, grandparents who are too frightened to leave their home. A lot of them are illegally here. I want to know from you what your plan is, because these are people who have been enabled by America to be here.
Enabled by America. What does that mean?
Well, I'll tell you what it means, sir. It means that they have healthcare, they have ID cards that they can drive, they have driving licenses, they pay tax, they have jobs, and so over a period of a long time, America has kind of welcomed them and enabled them to be here. And because of a change of policy, which we all understand, are you now saying that all of them must leave and that you will round them up and detain them?
Well, they cheated the system, right? Because there's millions of people standing in line, taking their tests, doing their background investigation, paying their fees to be part of the greatest nation on earth. You're talking about people that cheated the system. No, it's not okay to be in this country illegally. Now, let me be clear. President Trump's been clear. We're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats, and data shows us exactly what we're doing. But if you want me to sit here and bless someone being here illegally, I'm not going to do that because they cheated the system. What they should do is take advantage of the CBP Home app and make arrangements, put their affairs together, and leave, because that'll leave them an opportunity to come back under a legal program. For instance, if they have a U.S. citizen child, the U.S. citizen child can petition for them someday if they turn 18. Do the right thing and take the CBP Home app and do the right thing. Come back to this country legally.
So what would you say to the 30-year-old mother that we've spoken to from Mexico? He's here 16 years. here illegally, but pays her taxes, lives her life here, and as I say, has been enabled by America to be here. What would you say to her? She hasn't left her home for over 2 weeks now. She can't take her own children to school in the neighborhood because she is so frightened of being rounded up by ICE agents.
Well, bottom line is, I just said we're prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats. We're not out sweeping neighborhoods. We're not out looking for non-criminals. Now, if we run into a non-criminal during these operations, they're absolutely going to be taken in custody, because we're not going to do what the last Biden administration did and tell ICE you can't enforce immigration law. Let me explain to you why we have the most secure border in the nation's history today. It's because of President Trump's executive orders. First of all, it's because the men and women of Border Patrol are finally doing their job. And one of the reasons we have the most secure border in the nation's history, which gives us the highest national security we've ever had, because now we know who's coming and what's coming and so forth, is because of what ICE is doing. We're sending a message to the whole world. There are consequences for violating our laws. You're asking me to tell ICE, don't enforce the law. Should DEA enforce their laws? Should FBI enforce their laws? Should ATF enforce their laws? ICE is going to enforce the laws of what President Trump got elected for, and that's what we're doing.
And lastly, can I just
yes,
say...
ma'am.
That ICE ERO doesn't have to fill out worksheets ahead of ops anymore. Can you confirm that? And how did this work?
I'm not aware of that. I'll have to run that down. I'm not aware of that.
Okay, and can you give an update on Chicago? How many arrests were made since?
I haven't looked at the numbers this morning. I went straight to the tent here, so I look at the numbers every morning. I have not looked at the numbers yet this morning. I looked at them, so I don't know. I know that I just read off on a show I just did of 4 serious people that were arrested in Chicago. I don't know if let me tell you what's happened in Boston. Governor Healy got on TV this morning talking about ICE doing operations at churches, which is a bold-faced lie. 4 people out of many we arrested in Boston the last few days. Victor Gomez Perez, a 33-year-old criminal alien from Guatemala, with charges for aggravated rape, assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, indecent assault and battery on a victim 14 years or older, assault and battery on a police officer, and a conviction for assault. They arrested Kelly Espinosa Viana, a 34-year-old criminal alien from Colombia, with charges of aggravated assault on a pregnant victim. They arrested Joshua Gonzalez Baez, a 24-year-old criminal alien from Dominican Republic, with pending charges for trafficking heroin, morphine, opium, resisting arrest by an officer, disorderly conduct, and drug distribution. They arrested Samuel Barrera, a 20-year-old criminal illegal alien from Guatemala, with pending charges for assault and battery on a child. This is what ICE is doing across the country. They're targeting the worst of the worst, and they're making this country safe again. President Trump promised the American people he'd make this country safe again. Every public safety threat, every national security threat that ICE is taking on the street makes that community safer. Shame on Governor Healy and Mayor Wu. Shame on both of them. They should be calling the White House thanking President Trump, thanking ICE for making their communities safer. But instead, they get on national TV and lie about ICE and make these accusations that it is a big part of the reason why there's 1,000% increase on assaults on ICE agents. Facts matter. And that's why I stop here every day and talk to you all to get the facts out there. The men and women of ICE, they're mothers and fathers too. They don't hang their heart on a hook when they come to work every day. They put themselves in harm's way to go look for the worst of the worst. And we got hateful rhetoric not only coming from governors and mayors who are pushing a false narrative, but members of Congress who are comparing them to terrorists and Nazis. And bottom line is, if ICE is Nazis for enforcing immigration law, what's that make them? They wrote the law. ICE isn't making this up. They're enforcing laws enacted by Congress that they're funded to do. It's the same thing we've done for decades. I started in 1984. The difference is the last 4 years, there was no immigration enforcement. ICE agents were told not to enforce law. Border Patrol agents were processing people and releasing them in the country, not securing the border. Now that we're back to doing business, back to securing this nation and making this country safe again, people on the left are going nuts. The data speaks for itself. God bless the men and women of ICE and the Border Patrol. I love each and every one of them because they're stepping. How many of you all want to put a gun on your hip and stand on a dirt trail at 3 o'clock in the morning? When a sensor goes off, is it just an illegal alien looking for a better life? Or is it a heavily armed drug smuggler They don't know, but they're going to stand there and take it on. These are brave men and women who love America, and I love each and every one of them.
Mr. Homan, should they
Go, Mr. Homan.
ICE agents be required to identify themselves? They don't go.
They do. The tactical gear has a patch on saying they're from DEA, FBI, or ICE, HSR, or HSI, or ERO. They have patches. And if they're in a suit like I am, when they go up and arrest somebody, they have creds in their pocket, like I had creds in my pocket. And it'll show the person, here's who I am. Here's my badge. Here's my creds. This is who I am.
So videos when they're shown not identifying themselves or answering questions about that, are those not real?
They will identify themselves in a safety, secure environment. Now, if they're surrounded by a bunch of people who are proposing danger, safety first. But I guarantee when someone's arrested and put in attention, they know who arrested them, that person identify himself.
Like the Georgia raid. Sorry?
I missed
On Monday, the raid in Georgia. The administration and much with the government right now, what's sort of the update there? And then also, I mean, how much is the administration doing to work in South Korea on those permits, and then for other companies that are looking?
Question, but I'm not in the loop on that case. I can just tell you, I'm not in the loop on that one. No, I'm border czar. I'm doing a lot. I'm not familiar with that case, but I will say this. I said from day one, we're going to increase worksite enforcement operations. It's a crime to enter this country illegally, and it's also a crime to knowingly hire an illegal alien. They drive down wages, and they put companies that hire U.S. citizens out of business. And I can give you many examples of that. Every day, illegal aliens are employed by companies, undercut their competition that hires illegal aliens. They drive wages down. No one hires an illegal alien out of goodness of their heart. They hire them because they can work them harder, pay them less. Just like the farmers. There's a way a farmer can bring someone on, but they got to pay decent wages, got to provide housing. There's a right way and wrong way to do this, and President Trump demanded we do things the right way.
Can we get some Spanish-speaking surrogates to deliver this message that you're giving? Because we have media that refuses to give the correct information, and they're giving the misinformation, causing the fear in the communities. Can we get some Spanish surrogates to go ahead and give them the right information so they know exactly what app to go to, so that they can go and do things the legal and the right way and the law and orderly way?
I think we do, but I agree with you. We could expand that, so I'll take that for action.
How does Operation Midway Blitz differ from the raids that you've been conducting in and around Chicago since February?
We got more resources in Chicago. Again, the president wants to make Chicago safe again. And nothing's changing. We're still prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats. It's just we send more resources to sanctuary cities. President Trump said from day one, we're going to prioritize sanctuary cities because that's where the problem is. We know they're releasing public safety threats back in the community every day. We're going to go where the biggest problems are. The biggest problems are sanctuary cities.
What kinds of new resources?
No boots on the ground.
Community members and leaders who are worried about
Profiling. What do you say? Are due process rights being violated?
ICE agents aren't racially profiling. The law says you got to establish reasonable suspicion to detain and question somebody, and I think the men and women, ICE and Border Patrol, are doing exactly that. And I think the Supreme Court disagreed with us in California case. There's a myriad of factors they take into consideration. They learn that in the academy. Every 6 months, ICE agents have a refresher training on Fourth Amendment that gives them the rules around detention, seizure, arrest, questioning, and so forth. They're very well trained. They bring a group of factors together until they establish reasonable suspicion to make an arrest. Like the big story was the jumping on back of Van Home Depot, how they established reasonable suspicion. Were they there when they did surveillance? Were they there when license plate numbers were copied and taken down and tried to build a case on who's hiring these people and where these people came from? Were they there when they run NCIC and III and intelligence data? Were they there when they screened social media data? The men and women of ICE do a good job, and they do it professionally, and they do it with integrity. So I think the Supreme Court agreed with us yesterday. Things are being done the right way.
A few days ago, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, he said on MSNBC that ICE is planning to, quote, invade Chicago. He later shared resources with illegal aliens to help.
10.5 million illegal aliens came to our border, invaded this country, and were illegally released into the United States. And he defines the federal law. Federal law says you come to our border without proper documentation, you shall be detained. Not think about it. Not release them to NGO. You know what happened in the 4 years, which no one talks about? Why did it release millions of people into the United States when there are thousands of empty ICE beds? Why did they do that? Because if you're in ICE detention, you get a hearing within 35, 40 days. 90% lose their case. They simply don't qualify for asylum. They get on an airplane, they get sent home. That's not what they wanted. Release them to an NGO. The hearings are 5, 7, 9 years out if you go through the entire appeal process. What happens then? They're hoping for another Democratic leadership that can warrant amnesty millions of people. They sold this country out for future political power. President Trump is enforcing the law. That's one thing no one wants to talk about. ICE isn't making it up. They're enforcing the law. That's what they're doing. Because it hasn't been enforced in 4 years, and everybody's shocked right now what ICE is doing. They've been doing this since I started in 1984. They've been doing this for decades, but because the last 4 years they couldn't enforce the law, now we're back to enforcing law, everybody's having a fit. They're doing the right thing. They're making this country safe again every day. One more question. I got to go.
Coming up with a program to help farmers who are hurting from the immigration enforcement. Do you have an update on where that stands?
I'm not going to get ahead of the president on that. There's discussions ongoing. I'll leave it at that. But the president has promised there will be no amnesty.
Mr. Homan, are you meeting that goal that the administration has set of deporting out of the country those individuals in the country illegally on a certain number per day or a certain number per month? Are you meeting the administration's set goal? And what is that number that's certain?
I don't have a goal.
You have no, the administration
I don't have a goal. I want ICE out there every day with their partners, FBI, DEA, and ATF, to seek every criminal alien threat, every national security threat. I'll be happy when every illegal alien criminal and every illegal alien terrorist threat is removed from this country. That's when I'll be happy.
Was there never a goal of 3,000 a day? Does that sound like
3,000 a day. People keep bringing up 3,000 a day. Let me make something clear. You'd have to arrest 7,000 people a day. 7,000 people a day just to remove the people that Joe Biden let in the country. 3,000 is not unreasonable at all, considering what the Biden administration did for 4 years. Do the math. 7,000 a day for the rest of this administration just to remove the people they let in. Not even talking about the 15 million that are already here. Again, President Trump promised American people to make this country safer. I want you guys, if you leave with anything, leave with this. The data proves the majority of people ICE are arresting are criminal public safety threats. We're taking them off the street. We're removing them from this country. So every day, this country gets a little bit safer because of President Trump sitting in the Oval Office, giving ICE and Border Patrol the authority to enforce the law and uphold the oath they took to defend this nation. That's it.
Thank you.
All right, you're watching Borders Are. Tom Homan walk off after speaking to the press for about 10 minutes or so. He's going to be heading into the White House, presumably meeting with President Trump. David, I think he said the big takeaway here is that the data proves that the majority of people being arrested are criminals and people who are public threats to the United States. And as I listened to him, I seem to kind of get this impression that he's a little frustrated at the questions he continues to get and how the media is covering all of this and portraying the illegal immigration roundups and efforts from the Trump administration.
No, I picked up on that too as well. He's frustrated because they are the same questions. And so maybe instead of Tom Homan, we can just say broken record player because he just feels like he's saying the same thing over and over again. But they just want to go with their narrative, which is, illegal immigrants, which of course they call immigrants, the liberals call immigrants, but illegal